Hello guys, how are you all? Welcome back to my channel. So, today we are gonna see, what if Naruto knew his potential at early age and become super strong? Subscribe if you enjoy the video, and also check description. So let's begin the story. He had just about had enough. He lived his entire life in misery. 8 years with no friends. 8 years with no family. In 8 years, only 3 people had shown him any semblance of anything but hatred. 8 years of being beaten to within an inch of his life too many times to count. 6 years of living in an orphanage, being treated worse than all of the other kids. 2 years of living completely alone in an apartment, being robbed and vandalized nearly every day. 2 years of having to survive out of the trash because his monthly allowance from the Hokage wasn't enough to pay for rent and food. 3 years of being ridiculed by the other kids his age. 4 years of complete and utter hell, even though he is solely responsible for keeping the Kyuubi from destroying Konoha, even though he didn't know that yet. The worst part of it all was that he didn't know why. Why did they look at him as if he were the scum of the earth? Why would they randomly jump him and beat him until he prayed for death? Why nobody, not even the one person he thought actually cared for him, would do anything to help him? Sure, he could act happy around people. He would never give those idiots the satisfaction of knowing they were getting to him. He took it all with a smile, held his head high, acted like it didn't bother him, but behind closed doors, he was falling apart at the hinges. There were 3 people in his life that didn't outwardly abuse him. A third Hokage, though he was always too busy to show much kindness either. Then there was his academy instructor for the last couple of months, Yumino Iruka, though he was never outwardly nice either. At least he would stop the other kids and instructors before things got too out of hand. However, the only person who had ever been even remotely nice to him was a girl his age with lavender hair and white eyes, Hyuga Hinata. One time a couple of years ago, the girl had tried to stop some older kids from beating him, but then she was drugged away by an older teenager who had black hair and the same white eyes. Another Hyuga, he assumed, though he didn't know his name. Ever since that day, Hinata had at least tried to be kind to him, though she never succeeded. Rather, it was because of the other students, or some random Hyuga. She was never able to talk to him like she wanted to. Like he wanted her to. As the days went by, the misery continued, and young Naruto kept his fake smile on, trying to tell himself it would get better soon. All of this continued until one fateful day, October 10th to be exact, when Naruto decided to try and have some fun for once on his birthday and go to the festival the village held every year. He wasn't sure really what the festival was about, something about a fox or something, but he figured that everyone would be too caught up in the festivities to care about him. So once the festival began, he got dressed and headed out to enjoy himself. Naruto was walking through the streets of Konoha trying to figure out what he wanted to do, when suddenly he felt a sharp pain on the back of his head. "What the hell do you think you're doing here?" Demon yelled the irate villager who threw the beer bottle. Like all the times before, Naruto started to run away from the assailant. "Stop it. I didn't do anything to any of you," he shouted as he ran as fast as he could, with the crowd behind him growing. "You killed my demon wife. You've tortured our families for 9 years too long," yelled it, who appeared to be about 30, as he pulled out a kunai and threw it at Naruto. By luck alone, Naruto managed to dodge said kunai. Naruto continued running, all the while being pelted by rocks and beer bottles, until finally he came to a dead end in a clearing just outside of the village, but still within the walls. "Ha! Looks like this is the end for you, fox demon," said a man in the mob as he stepped forward, revealing himself to be a shinobi in his teens. "I'm not a demon though. I have never heard any," Naruto said as he was punched in the face by said shinobi, knocking him to the ground. "Shut up. You killed my father. My mother told me it was you." "No, I didn't, I promise." At this point, the teenager walked up and kicked him in the ribs, sending him rolling across the ground. Apparently the rest of the mob took this as the cue to start, as they all proceeded to start beating on him. Some even started to stab him with kitchen knives and even kunai. Naruto was sure this time would finally kill him, and he started to just sob uncontrollably before the world around him went dark. He suddenly found himself standing ankle deep in water, in what appeared to be a prison, or a dungeon. He looked around trying to figure out where he was at, as he heard a voice more sinister than anything he had ever heard say, "You are angry. You wish for blood. This is good. Embrace the bloodlust." As a large pair of bloodshot eyes and savage-looking teeth appeared from behind the vertical bars that separated him from the absolute darkness. "Rejoice in the hatred that courses through your veins. I will give you a small taste of my power. Destroy the ones who harm you. We will meet again soon." Naruto suddenly found himself back on the ground, still being beaten, though the wounds he had obtained earlier stopped hurting, and he could no longer feel the current blows. He felt power. He felt deadly. He was more powerful than ever before, and he knew it. Judging by the look on the villagers' faces, they knew it as well. They looked at him in sheer terror as they started backing up and yelled, "What are you?" "I have been called many things. Death, terror, a nightmare, a demon, the Kyuubi. But Ode, you shall know me as the judge, jury, and executioner. Said Naruto as he stared down the mob of villagers with slitted red eyes. The villagers looked back and felt killing intent like they had never felt before. It was so strong that most pissed their pants, while some simply fainted. The red shroud of chakra had formed around Naruto and took the shape of a fox with one tail as Naruto's features became more feral. All of the civilians who hadn't fainted started running away, hoping that they may live to see another day, while the shinobi for the most part stuck around. See? You're nothing but a damn demon. Now Dai yelled in the group as he went through some hand seals. Kaiten. Fireball. He inhaled a deep breath before exhaling, blowing out a ball of fire towards Naruto, who just stood there as the fireball enveloped him. Yes. I did it. I finally killed the demon child, yelled as the fireball rolled over Naruto. Hokage-sama. Do you feel that, said a dog-masked Anbu that just burst through the door into the Hokage's office. Yes, Kakashi, gather everyone you can and meet me there. I fear the foolish villagers may have finally pushed Naruto-kun too far. Said the Anbu, now identified as Kakashi, as he shunshined away. I sure hope the seal is still intact and that those fools haven't doomed us all. Thought Hiruzen, the aged Sandaime Hokage, as he stood up and leapt out the window towards the massive chakra source. Pathetic. Growled the demonic voice of Naruto as the fireball dissipated around him. The who launched the fireball now completely voided his bowels as he started to back away before falling down. How the hell, he said as he continued trying to back away. Now let me show you a real fireball. Said Naruto as he inhaled a deep breath before releasing it, blowing out a stream of fire the size of a Greyhound bus. The fireball surrounded half of the remaining crowd that wasn't quick enough to get out of the way, the fireball guy included. What the hell are you, yelled another one of the shinobi. Why, don't you remember, I'm a demon, you're the one who called me that just a moment ago. Said shinobi didn't even get the chance to reply as Naruto shot his left arm out, with a red chakra arm extending from it, as the chakra arm grabbed the man around his head and squeezed, showering the area in blood. The man's body dropped to the ground, and now the others had seen enough, as they all turned tail to run. I don't think so. Said Naruto as a wall of flames shot up from the ground, blocking the path of the fleeing shinobi. Consider this your payback for 8 years of hell. Please don't. We're sorry, yelled out one of the shinobi in the group. Were you sorry all those times when you were beating me when I prayed for death just so the pain would stop? Hell no. You are all pitiful excuses of life forms, and you make me sick, shouted Naruto as the chakra and killing intent spiked even higher, making a few of the remaining people faint. But. Shut your mouth. You don't deserve to speak in my presence. At this point, another tail formed on Naruto's chakra cloak as his eyes turned completely red. Several black and white balls then shot out from Naruto's body and started to swirl together in front of his mouth, and the air around him became much denser to the point that the people in the mob could no longer breathe. All of the remaining villagers started on in fear, trying to catch a breath as they lost control of their bodily functions, while a small black ball formed in front of Naruto's mouth. Naruto grinned from ear to ear in a creepy fashion as he swallowed the ball. Nothing happened for a second, and then all of a sudden he fired out a beam of the dark-looking chakra twice the size of his fireball earlier. He started at one side and swept the whole field that was within his fire barrier, decimating everything inside it. As soon as the dust cleared, the wall of flames died down, and Hiruzen leapt into the crater that used to be the clearing known as Training Ground 4. Naruto-kun, he shouted as Naruto locked his attention on the man. Just then a voice rang out over the clearing. Kaiten. Fire Dragon Missile. The large-sized fire dragon raged out of the mouth of a boar mask who just leapt in. Naruto turned from Hiruzen to the fire dragon and simply stuck out his hand towards the attack. Hiruzen's eyes went wide as the attack neared Naruto, thinking that the boy he looked at as a grandson was about to die. The fire dragon crashed into Naruto's outstretched hand before coming to a complete stop. Both the Hokage and boar were shocked at this, at least until the dragon turned around and enveloped the Anbu. Once the fire died down, all that remained of boar was his mask. Naruto then turned back to the aged Hokage and said, Jiji, I'm sorry they tried to kill me, they made me do this, as the chakra shroud started to fade. It was then that several more Anbu leapt into the clearing as well, throwing several kunai and shuriken at Naruto. The chakra around him suddenly lashed out and stopped all the weapons dead in their tracks. Leave me alone, goddammit. I don't want to kill you people. I just want to be happy. Anbu? Stand down, shouted Hiruzen as he shunshined between Naruto and the Anbu. No disrespect, Hokage-sama, but he is a threat and should be killed. Said an Anbu with a monkey mask. I said stand down, roared Hiruzen as he released his own killer intent. The Anbu immediately stood from their fighting stances and took a step back out of fear. Seeing this, the chakra cloak around Naruto disappeared as he fell to the ground unconscious. Hiruzen then walked over and scooped Naruto up in his arms before turning towards the Anbu. Clean this mess up, and then you are dismissed, he said as he and Naruto disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Flashback, 9 years ago. We should kill it now. before it has a chance to regain power and finish the job, shouted one of the civilian council members. You should know that our Yandane was the best user in the world, there is no chance of the demon breaking out of Naruto. Replied to the Sandane. Perhaps when he becomes of age, I could train him to control the fox's power, suggested Danzo. No, you will not turn Naruto-kun into one of your mindless root agents. Damn, thought Danzo. I agree with Haruno, the demon should be killed, said another of the civilian council. Naruto-kun will not be harmed. Our beloved Yandane sacrificed his life and child for you and wants him seen as a hero, yet you idiotize his desires already, shouted the Sandane, silencing the requests for death and imprisonment. Furthermore, if any of you tell anyone of his tenant or heritage, you will be put to death. I want him to grow up like a normal child. Hurriedly, Hokage's office. Oh, how I wish I could have been more helpful to you, Naruto-kun. You are a hero every day, with the blood inside of you, yet they treat you like shit. I wish I could make it up to you. Well, maybe, thought Hiruzen as he looked at the unconscious form of Naruto on the couch beside his desk. Finally, after about an hour, Naruto began to stir before sitting up. Where is Gigi? Oh god, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt anyone, but they made me, he said as he started to sob again. I don't even know what happened, I was just so scared, and then a scary set of eyes told me to use their power to stop the hurting. Hiruzen was quite shocked when Naruto mentioned the scary set of eyes with power, wondering if Naruto meant the Kyuubi. He got up from his desk and walked over to the couch to sit beside Naruto. SHH, it's okay, Naruto-kun. But Gigi, I killed them, so many people died because of me tonight. They deserved it for treating you the way they did, you are supposed to be a hero. What do you mean, Gigi? I was going to wait until you were older, but I have some things to tell you, and now seems to be as good a time as any. What is Gigi? Well, one night, 9 years ago, Hiruzen proceeded to tell Naruto what happened that night, about his tenant, and finally that the one who sealed said demon into him was his father. Yep, the Yandane Hokage was Naruto's dad. Naruto was so shocked from all this information that he fainted again. It took Hiruzen nearly 20 minutes to wake Naruto back up before they started talking about what Naruto now knew. So I really am a demon, like everyone said. No, Naruto-kun, you are not a demon, you just hold one. Watch this. Hiruzen said as he got up and walked over to his desk and retrieved a storage scroll and a kunai. He came back to Naruto and opened the scroll. You see, this is a scroll, and this kunai. As he held up the kunai is the Kyuubi. He laid the kunai onto the scroll and channeled some chakra as the scroll absorbed the kunai into it. So, is this now a kunai, he said as he held up the scroll with the word kunai in the center. No, it's still a scroll. Exactly. Just as having a kunai sealed in the scroll doesn't make the scroll a kunai, having a demon sealed inside of you doesn't make you a demon. Naruto let a small genuine smile show now, thanks Gigi. He said as he hugged the old man. It was your right to know, Naruto-kun. I was a fool for hiding it this long. Now before you go, I have some things for you. Said Hiruzen as he walked over to his desk and did some hand seals before slamming his hand onto the desk. Now underneath his hand was a chest with a spiral pattern, surrounded by a chain of 3-pronged kunai. Cool, Gigi, what is that? A wide-eyed Naruto asked. This, Naruto-kun, is your inheritance, left to you by your father. It contains all of his scrolls, as well as the Uzumaki clan techniques. Both he and your mother left you a letter in there as well. The chest itself was designed with a seal, so that no one but you and me can even touch the box, and only you can open it. Naruto was now near the point of fainting once more as he looked at the box. Now Naruto-kun, it will probably be a while before you are advanced enough to learn most of them, but I will help you along whenever I can. Said Hiruzen as he pulled out a small card from his desk. What is that, Gigi? This is a card made from chakra paper. If you channel some chakra into it, it will tell you your elemental affinity. Hiruzen then explained elemental manipulation to Naruto, who absorbed the information like it was ramen, before handing Naruto the card. Naruto took the card and channeled some chakra to it before it split in half. Fuetin, a rather rare. Hiruzen started, but then stopped as one half of the paper caught fire, while the other crinkled up. At this point his eyes went wide. After all, even having 3 affinities was kind of rare, it was unheard of for a genin, no, an academy student. So what does that mean, Gigi? That shook Hiruzen out of his shock, before he answered it means you have an affinity for Fuetin, Kaiten, and Raiten. That is good, because most don't even have 3 affinities. Wow. I'm gonna be a super awesome ninja one day. Possibly, but don't let that go to your head, Naruto-kun. Dear God, this kid will be an animal by 12 if he gets proper training. I won't, Gigi, I know it takes hard work to be strong, so that's what I'll do. Except I don't really have anyone to help me, he said with a frown at the end. Hiruzen thought about that for a moment before he stood up and made a cross-hand seal, and 20 copies of himself appeared in the room. He then pulled out a storage scroll and sealed all of the clones into it before handing it to Naruto. Those clones are called cage buncheons. They are solid clones capable of independent thought. They can be used for a variety of purposes, including training, fighting, and spying. You can take that scroll and unseal a clone whenever you need help training. Thanks Gigi. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. How about I show you to your new home now? Okay. Hiruzen walked over to a blank spot on the wall before doing some hand seals and touching his hand to the wall. To Naruto's surprise, a seal array appeared on the wall before the pair disappeared. The next thing Naruto knew, he was standing in the middle of a large room that appeared to be the living room of a mansion. Where are we at, Gigi? Naruto asked, and Hiruzen just smiled. Your home, Naruto-kun. Like the box, this place is full of seals so that it is hidden from everyone. The only entrance is through my office, or the hardship technique, which is one of the ones your dad left you, but it will likely take you years to learn, as your father is the only person who ever used that. Hiruzen then showed Naruto the hand seals to transport between place to place. So Naruto-kun, do you need anything else? No Gigi, I think I'm just gonna go to bed. I've got a lot to think about. Okay Naruto-kun, I'll see you tomorrow then. Good night Gigi. With that, Hiruzen left, and Naruto began to search for his new home. After acquainting himself with the house, he went upstairs and quickly drifted off to sleep. Damn it, shut up shh. Go to hell, shouted Naruto as his fist smashed down and through his alarm clock. It was time to get up for another day at the academy, but after all Naruto went through last night, he didn't want to go. He grumbled a bit more as he crawled out of bed, knowing that he'd be in trouble if he missed. After taking a shower and eating his breakfast that consisted of instant ramen cups, he left home en route to another day of boring learning and nonsenses. There would definitely be nonsenses. No sooner than Naruto got out of sight of the Hokage's office, the glares and curses set in. Demon Shoulder killed you 9 years ago. Monster. Devil. This upset the young Naruto of course, but he was used to it. As long as they didn't hit him, he could ignore it. The verbal abuse continued all the way to the academy, and even then, most of the instructors hated him as well. Naruto finally arrived at his class to find he was only the third person here, so he checked his watch. 6:40. What the hell, I'm 20 minutes early. This was rather odd for him, considering he normally didn't arrive until right at 7 o'clock when classes began. Since he had a while to kill, he figured he would try to make conversation with the other two students, the lavender-haired white-haired girl, Hinata Hyuga, and the black-haired black-eyed boy, Sasuke Uchiha. Good morning guys. Morning. Was Sasuke's only reply. Hey, better than HMPH, right? Good morning, Naruto-kun. Replied the shy Hyuga. How are you guys? Good. I just wish I didn't have to be here so I could do some real training. Sasuke replied. I know how you feel. I have better things to learn than the history of shinobi sandals. Why, they are open too. Naruto said, getting a small chuckle from both other students. Little did the three students know, they had just started a bond that would carry them far in life. Sasuke was normally impartial to Naruto, as his parents weren't part of the Lynch Naruto club. Hinata actually had a crush on him. I kind of like that kid, I wonder why everyone else looks at him with such dis. Sasuke started thinking before he was interrupted by a crash. He looked towards the door, where the noise came from, to see a pink-haired girl laying on top of a blonde. Sasuke-kun, shouted the pink-haired girl with a voice that would make a banshee pale. Ha! I was here first. I get to sit by him, Ino pig. The pink-haired girl shouted at the blonde. You wish Sakura 5 had, yelled the blonde, in a slightly less awful voice. Hey. Move, fathead. I'm sitting next to Sasuke-kun. Sakura now directed her eardrum-splitting noisemaker at Naruto. I was here first. Said Naruto calmly. I don't give a damn. My mom is on the council and she says you're a worthless idiot, so move. Hey, Naruto began but was cut off by Sasuke. Hey, you pink-haired, loud-mouthed banshee, I don't care if your mom is the freaking Hokage, you won't talk to him like that anymore. Did he just stick up for me? Naruto thought. Sasuke-kun. Don't call me kun, you sorry waste of breath. Naruto has never done anything to you yet you come in here insulting him. But Please shut up and leave me alone. Now the Uchiha weren't known as the nicest of clans around, but still they didn't try to cause trouble and insult people without reason. Sakura then walked away from Sasuke and Naruto with tears in her eyes. Idiot, how could I have ever cared for that face? Because he's freaking hot. That's why. Inner Sakura replied to her. Wow, thanks Sasuke, no one's ever stood up for me like that before. Don't mention it, I kind of like you, and she has no reason to speak to you like she did. Said the Uchiha with a smirk. Everyone sit down and shut up, said a new voice as the class suddenly turned to the front of the room to see Iruka standing there. Okay then, now that I have everyone's attention, today we will be discussing the reason why all ninja shoes are open-toed. There was a loud thump heard from one corner of the room where Naruto and Sasuke's heads were now implanted into their table. 1 week later. Naruto had spent the last week, when he wasn't at school, reading over his parents' scrolls. He saw many things in there he wanted to learn, but like Hiruzen had said, most were too difficult. One in particular caught his eye, so he proceeded to learn it, and it only took him a few hours to do so. It was one that his father actually recommended that he learn early on, as it would help with learning other things, as well as chakra capacity as if he needed more, and chakra control slightly. It was called the Kagebunshin, or Shadow Clone, and it made solid copies of himself that could fight or train or whatever, and then once dispelled he would gain their memories. This meant that he could now make a clone read a book, and it would be as if he read it himself. While at school, Naruto had continued to talk to Sasuke and Hinata, further solidifying their friendship. Naruto hadn't really noticed yet, but befriending the heirs of the two most respected clans in Konoha had actually made some people stop their hated glares and curses, though most still did it. The other kids had also started seeing him differently, starting to doubt the word of their parents. Naruto seemed like a good, normal kid. He seemed friendly enough with the Hyuga and Uchiha, and most now remembered that he had never been anything but nice to them. His only flaw was that he used to be a little on the loud side, but now he seemed to have calmed down. Well, that, and his choice of clothing was plain atrocious. Sakura still hasn't tried to speak to Sasuke again since his talk with her last week. In fact, most of the girls now only admire him from a distance. Ring 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 sigh. Naruto sighed as he rolled out of bed and started getting ready for another day. He quickly went through his normal routine before heading off to school, ignoring the comments of most of the villagers as normal before arriving at school. As was usual last week, he was the third to arrive. "Hey guys, morning," he said as he walked in and sat in his normal seat between Sasuke and Hinata. "Morning." "Good morning, Naruto-kun. So guess what I learned, and I think you'll love it, Sasuke." "What is it?" "Well, it's called the Kagebunshin no. Clones. What's so special about a clone?" "Kagebunshin no. Naruto said with his hands in the cross seal, before a clone appeared and slapped Sasuke in the head before laughing and then dispelling himself. "What the hell was that? Wait, did that clone just physically hit me?" "Yep." "Sweet. Teach me." "Sure. Hinata-chan, do you want to learn it too?" "No thank you, I don't think my family wouldn't approve of it." "Okay then." Naruto then proceeded to warn Sasuke of the intense chakra drainage before teaching him the technique. "Kagebunshin no jutsu." Sasuke said as a clone appeared beside him. "Now here's the cool part." Naruto said before leading the clone away and whispering something to it before punching it in the face to dispel it. "Hey screw you," Sasuke said as he heard the insult Naruto said to the clone. "Wait, you said that to him? How do I know it?" "The memories of your clones will be transferred to you when they dispel." "Really? That's sweet." "Everyone sit down and shut up," said Iruka as the class suddenly became quiet. "Okay. Today, we will be learning about the history of kunai." Two loud sighs were heard from Naruto and Sasuke as Iruka started the lesson. Naruto then got an idea and grabbed a piece of paper before writing ditch Shadow Clone plus substitution and sliding it to Sasuke. Sasuke grabbed the paper and smiled before discreetly nodding his head and performing the cross seal under his desk at the same time as Naruto. A clone of each popped up outside the window before the pair did the ram symbol and switched places with the clones. "So what now?" said Sasuke as the pair hopped along the rooftops, making sure to stay hidden. "Well, we can't go to my place, Gigi would shit a brick if he knew I was ditching." "Same for mine, if Dad and Itachi found out they'd kill us both." "Damn. How about we go to one of the unused training grounds to train a bit?" "Sure works for me." Said Sasuke before the two changed course for training ground 14, one of the non-used training grounds out in the woods on the outskirts of town. "So, since I taught you a sweet, do you have any you can teach me?" said Naruto as they arrived. "Do you know the Kaiten?" Hisenka no asked Sasuke. "Nah," replied Naruto. Well, Sasuke then began to explain the technique to Naruto, who grasped the concept pretty quick. He then ran through the required hand seals and said Kaiten. Hausenka no jutsu. As he inhaled and then exhaled, blowing out several softball-sized fireballs. "Cool, that was pretty good, especially for the first try. It took me like a month to get that good." Said Sasuke. Naruto then rubbed the back of his head and chuckled. "I have an affinity for Kaiten, and Gigi says I have low-level chakra reserves." "Oh, I see, but all the chakra in the world won't help you, I'll still be the better ninja," Sasuke challenged. "Not even in your dreams," said Naruto, "but anyways, do you have any other affinities?" "Kaiten and Raiten. What about you?" "Kaiten, Futen, and Raiten. Do you know any Raiten yet?" "No, Dad has only taught me the Hisenka so far." "I wonder if I have any on my scroll," said Naruto as he pulled a scroll from his pocket and looked it over for a second before frowning. He didn't have any lightning, but his father had recommended several chakra control exercises to get his control up before learning many anyways. "I don't have any lower level, but how about chakra control training?" "Sure, what did you have in mind?" "Well, my scroll from Gigi says that tree climbing is a good way to practice." How does climbing trees help anything? You have to use your chakra to make your feet stick. Said Naruto as he walked towards one of the trees nearby and stuck a foot to it while concentrating. He then stuck the other foot and was now parallel with the ground. He walked up a few more steps before putting in too much chakra and blowing himself off of the tree, landing with a thud as Sasuke laughed his face off. Watch and learn, loser. He said as he walked over to his own tree. He made it up about 3 steps before underpowering it and falling with his own thud as it was Naruto's turn to laugh. Idiot. Sasuke said with a chuckle before the two started at it again, quickly making it into a competition. After a few hours, both had the tree climbing technique figured out, with Naruto beating Sasuke by less than 5 minutes. At the academy, the idea of leaving the shadow clones in class served a purpose other than not being missed. The pair hoped to actually learn the lessons, since in person they slept through them anyway. This, however, was not the case. Naruto, Sasuke, pay attention, yelled Iruka at the two sleeping students. Both of them shot up in their chair, now wide awake as Iruka continued his lesson, and since the average hunting knives were less than efficient for combat, some ninjas started trying to design a better weapon. This led to several failed attempts, such as back at training ground 14. You just got lucky, you know. Sasuke pouted. Nah, this is pure talent. Said Naruto with a large grin. Whatever. What do we do next? Well, the scroll says water walking is the next one. It's like tree climbing, but the surface constantly changes, so you have to vary the chakra output. Ugh, great. Said Sasuke as he started towards the pond at the edge of the field while taking off his shirt. Why are you stripping, homo? I'm not that way, Naruto teased. Screw you. I know that as much as I fell tree climbing, I'll probably get wet at some point, so I'm saving my clothes. Sasuke replied as he took off his pants as well, leaving only his boxers. Good point, I guess. Said Naruto as he too stripped off his clothes. Now anyone just walking by would probably require extensive therapy, seeing the two preteen boys in their underwear trying to walk on water. Again, after another several hours, both boys had the exercise down, this time with Sasuke winning by a few minutes. Ah, I won this time, loser, Sasuke teased. Well, now we're tied, looks like we'll have to have a tiebreaker. What do we do now then? Stick leaves to our body with chakra. Most leaves in 1 hour wins, and then we'll have to head home. Deal. Replied Sasuke as both boys started frantically grabbing leaves and trying to get them to stick, neither wanting to be the loser at the end of the day. After the hour was over, much to Sasuke's dismay, Naruto had stuck 11 leaves to the various parts of his body to Sasuke's 10. Haha, who's the loser now? Naruto taunted while doing a victory dance. Damn it. Sasuke pouted. 20 copies of Naruto sat around various places in the large house that he now resided in, while the original was in the backyard practicing his taijutsu with a clone of Hiruzen. The clones inside were reading over various scrolls, ranging from more advanced chakra control techniques to lower level Fuden, Raiten, and Kaiten. Alright, try again, Naruto-kun. Said Hiruzen as he watched Naruto throw several kunai and shuriken at a large wooden target, though still not perfectly accurate. Naruto went to the target and removed all of his previously thrown weapons, before coming back to the line and trying again. This continued for a couple more hours until Naruto had finally perfected his accuracy. After the weapon practice, Naruto and Hiruzen went over the basics of the taijutsu style that his father used. After a couple hours of this, Naruto got the basics, so he decided to call it a night. He dispelled the Hiruzen clone before walking back inside to wash up and get something to eat. As Naruto got out of the shower and started to cook his instant ramen, the clones started dispelling themselves, sending the information they learned back to the original. Naruto was now rather happy, as he would have some new things to practice with Sasuke when they skipped school again. Uchiha's secret meeting room. I for one have grown tired of the way that this village alienates our clan. We are the strongest in Konoha, yet they have been pushing us away since the reign of the Nidaime. Said the man at the head of the table in the underground meeting room of the Uchiha clan. I agree with you, Fugaku-sama. We have been pushed to the side for far too long. I believe it is time for action. Said another of the men at the table. Yes, I believe it is about time we show this village that the Uchiha are superior to all others. I will soon lead this clan back to its proper prestige, once that fool Sarutobi is out of the way. Said the man now identified as Fugaku. It will be a good day indeed. With that fool gone, the Uchiha will reign supreme, said yet another of the men. I don't believe that this is the correct path to take. Trying to plan a coup will only lead to more problems than it is worth in the end. Said the youngest man currently in the room, Anbu Captain Itachi. Son, you are an excellent shinobi, but you are still young and naive. This is the only way to regain our prominence. Said Fugaku. As you say, father. Now Itachi, I understand you have a meeting with the Anbu after we are through here, yes? Yes, father. Then you know your mission. Obtain all the information that you can and report the weaknesses to us at our meeting next week. Yes, father. Said Itachi as he bowed to the council before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Hokage's office, 1 hour later. Hokage-sama. Said the weasel-faced Anbu as he appeared kneeling in front of Hiruzen's desk in a swirl of leaves. Hiruzen went through some hand seals before the room glowed purple for a moment and then faded back to normal. Itachi, report. Said the aged Hokage as said Anbu stood up and removed his mask. It is worse than I thought. My father actually intends a violent takeover, a coup d'etat, if you will. I tried to talk them out of it, but it appears that their minds are made up. I see. Do you have any specifics? Not yet. I just left from a meeting with the council. They actually assume that I am spying on you for them. But as of the meeting tonight, they have only decided that it will happen and will involve your death. They didn't elaborate on when or how. Understood. Said Hiruzen as he did a couple of hand seals to disable the privacy seal. Tiger. No sooner than he finished speaking, a swirl of leaves appeared in the room to reveal a kneeling Anbu with a tiger mask. Hokage-sama, Weasel Taichu. Said Tiger with a bow of his head. Please fetch me Hamaru, Kaharu, and Danzo please, Tiger. Said Hiruzen. As you wish, Hokage-sama. Said Tiger before disappearing again. 20 minutes later, the door to the Hokage's office opened up, revealing the 3 village elders. Please have a seat, we have much to discuss. The elders then came in and sat down around his desk, where Itachi retold the tale of the couple, before they began to discuss possible courses of action. I believe that this threat should be handled quickly and efficiently, by killing all of the Uchiha. Said Danzo firmly. I think that we should wait it out longer, to see who is involved, and only eliminate them. Countered Hiruzen. I somewhat agree with Danzo, we should act quickly, but only kill the elder Uchiha that harbor ill feelings towards the village. This was Kaharu, earning a nod from Hamaru. As I said before, for the most part, the Uchiha have been cursed by their desire for power. I fear that if we don't eliminate the whole threat, then the survivors will become even more withdrawn, and it may lead to further problems down the road. I see where you are coming from, Danzo, but I don't believe that to be the best solution. Said Hiruzen. I believe it to be the only way. This way will guarantee that there will be no threat in the future. I suppose you may be right, Itachi. Yes, Hokage-sama. What is your opinion on this matter? I agree with whatever you decide upon. I do, however, believe that we should only eliminate the guilty. The children are still young enough to be molded and changed to stay off the path of hatred that the family has taken thus far. I happen to agree. That is the path we will take. It shall be carried out in 1 week's time, after the next meeting of the Uchiha. After the meeting. Tap. Was the noise heard down the long, dark corridor underneath Konoha. The noise continued for several minutes before it faded into the sound of a door opening and then shutting. Thorin. The source of the noise, one Danzo Shimura, said to seemingly no one. A couple of seconds after he spoke there was a rustling of wind in the room. Yes, Danzo-sama, said the man now kneeling in front of Danzo's desk. At ease, Thorin. Danzo said as the man stood up and bowed. Alright, I will need you to have your best 2 squads prepared for a mission within the week. Sarutobi is having one of his Anbu eliminate the Uchiha shinobi. I tried to convince him to kill them all, but the weak old man refused, so we will have to take care of this problem from the shadows as always. It will be seen, Danzo-sama. Said Thorin before disappearing as quickly as he came. Do I really have to? Pouted Naruto as Sasuke drugged him through the streets, with a blushing Hinata in tow. Yes. If you are going to hang out with me and be taken seriously, then you have to dress like a shinobi. There's nothing wrong with my clothes. Naruto, you wear a kill me orange jumpsuit. That is just begging someone to find and slay you. Hinata-chan, help me out here. Hinata blushed a little deeper before managing to stutter out, actually Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun is right. Oh man, not you too. Fine, said Naruto with a huff as he conceded to changing his look. After several more minutes of walking, the trio arrived at one of more prestigious shinobi clothing stores in Konoha. As they tried to walk in, the cashier glared at Naruto before saying, I'm so sorry Uchiha-sama, Hyuga-sama, is this filth bothering you? That comment once more pissed the Uchiha off. He turned his onyx eyes upon the man with a glare. What was that? I asked if you wanted me to rid you of this trash that is pestering you. This trash happens to be my best friend. I'd advise you to watch your tongue, else you anger 2 of the most prominent clans in Konoha. The man then opened and closed his mouth several times before apologizing to the trio and ushering them in. Well, what am I supposed to buy? I'm not big on clothes shopping. Said Naruto as they looked at the various items. And pondered Hinata as she started looking around for a minute. Naruto and Sasuke, for their part, sat back and let the woman work her magic. After a few minutes, she didn't disappoint as she came back holding a few outfits in her arms. I think that these would look good on you, Naruto-kun. He then smiled, which made her blush 3 shades darker, then took the clothes into the changing booth. He tried the clothes on before walking back out for her to inspect. It was a pair of khaki cargo shorts, similar to Sasuke's, and a blue polo shirt with orange sleeves and an orange collar. The orange sleeves extended down the side of the shirt before curving into a point, stopping at the ribsage. I kind of like this one, I still get to keep some oranges too, said Naruto, excited about keeping his favorite color. Sasuke was just along for the ride. Hinata, however, fainted upon seeing it, only getting out a single thought, handsome. Hinata-chan. Are you okay? Ah, she obviously likes it. Said Sasuke, noticing the large smile on her face as she fell. Well then it works for me too, let's wake her up and get out of here. They waited a few minutes for Hinata to finally recover before they gathered the clothes and went to the register to purchase them. After buying the clothes with no problem, they went by an embroidery shop to drop them off to have a leaf insignia put on the left chest of the shirts and the Uzumaki clan symbol on the back. Once that task was done, the trio then sat out to find something to eat while they waited. They settled upon going to a nearby barbecue place where they ate and chatted for a couple of hours before heading back to pick up Naruto's new clothes. After they picked them up, the trio went their separate ways to rest up for the next day. None of them, however, knew that tomorrow would be a day that changed both Naruto and Sasuke's lives forever. Naruto, once again, was the third person to arrive at the academy. As he entered, Hinata blushed but managed to stay conscious this time. Hey guys, good morning. Naruto said as he walked to his normal seat. Morning. Replied Sasuke. Good morning Naruto-kun, you look. That was as far as Hinata could make it before she lost her battle with unconsciousness. Man, she should see a doctor, this is happening a lot lately. Said a clueless Naruto. You're such an idiot, Naruto. Said Sasuke with a smirk. Why am I an idiot? Nothing. Tell me. You'll see one day. Said Sasuke, letting out a chuckle. I want to know now though. Okay, I'll tell you then. Yay. Why then? You just are. Sasuke said as he chuckled again. Ass. I know you are, but what am I? Stupid. I know you are, but what am I? Stop it, nonsense. I know you are, but what am I? Sasuke now broke into full laughter as Naruto's face turned red with frustration. I'm about to. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, be nice to each other please. Said the now conscious Hinata. Hi, Naruto huffed as he sat back and willed Sasuke's head to explode with his mind. By now a few more of the students were starting to arrive. Among them were several girls who had quit hating Naruto but didn't yet like him before today. Once all the girls arrived and saw Naruto's new outfit, there was another fan club formed almost instantly. As some of the girls wooed over Naruto, Sasuke developed a smile that threatened to tear his face in half. What's so funny? Asked Naruto. You drew some of their attention away from me. What do you? It was then that Naruto heard the yells. How the hell he didn't hear them before is beyond me, of Naruto-kun. And oh my god, he's so cute. And then the sounds of shoving and cursing and no, I'm gonna date Naruto-kun first. And I am. He just slammed his head onto the table as Sasuke started laughing and Hinata giggled a bit. It's not funny. Came his muffled reply to their laughter. Alright everyone, sit down and shut up, yelled Iruka as he walked in the room. Once everyone was paying attention, he smiled before beginning the day. Alright class, today, we will be going over to Jutsu. Let's move outside so you can show me what you know so far. Said Iruka as he looked over the class. Damn, we can't skip today, or the clones will end up getting dispelled. Whispered Sasuke to Naruto, who let out a low growl, making Hinata giggle. The class then made their way out to the academy training field where everyone got paired off. Naruto and Sasuke were a pair, which they both liked. Hinata was paired up with Sakura, which Hinata liked. I wish I already knew the Jaikin, where I could beat her for being so annoying. Thought Hinata. Maybe if I can beat her, Sasuke-kun will like me. Yeah. If you pummeled her he'll have to love us. Thought Sakura and inner Sakura. All of the kids began their spars under the watchful eyes of the teachers, who were trying to correct their stances and point out mistakes in their styles. Finally it became Naruto and Sasuke's turn, making the fangirls go crazy. Naruto Sasuke-kun, the chorus was heard all across the village. Ready to lose, loser, said Sasuke with a smirk on his face. In your dreams, replied Naruto with his own smirk. Begin, shouted Iruka before jumping out of the way. The two boys quickly charged at each other, Sasuke throwing a punch towards Naruto's face. Naruto ducked under the punch and launched his own uppercut at Sasuke, who flipped back out of the way to avoid it. The boys stood at opposite sides of the ring staring each other down for a moment before charging in again. This time it was Naruto acting, throwing a feint punch at Sasuke. He bit and went to block the punch before Naruto threw a kick into his ribs and slid him back several feet. Oh idiot, you'll pay for that, shouted Sasuke as he leapt back into the fight. Sasuke quickly got back to Naruto and tried to sweep his legs out from under him, but Naruto jumped up to avoid it. Sasuke smirked, knowing that Naruto would do that. He quickly reached his arms out and grabbed Naruto's legs, spinning him around and driving him into the ground hard. Sasuke smiled, thinking he won, until he heard a poof, signaling that it was a shadow clone. He started to turn his head and look for Naruto, but didn't make it far before Naruto's fist connected with his cheek, knocking him to his back. When he opened his eyes, Naruto was standing above him with a fist 2 inches from his face. "Good job, boys, both of you are well advanced into jutsu for your age. I saw some openings and flaws, but that is to be expected. I assume you both train at home, seeing that that wasn't the academy style," said Iruka. Naruto then helped Sasuke up before answering, "Yay, I'm trying to develop my own style, between my mother and father's, but it's slow going. I use my family style," the intercepting fist. Sasuke added in. "Well, I'm glad to see you two training early, you'll go far in the world like that," said Iruka with a smile. Okay, next up, Hinata and Sakura. The two mentioned girls then walked up to the ring and bowed to each other, before Iruka told them to begin. Sakura quickly charged in at Hinata, who just stood there and waited. As Sakura got in close, Hinata gave her a quick palm strike to the face. Sakura reeled back a couple of steps and hit the ground unconscious. "Well, good job, Hinata," said Iruka with a sweat drop. "Thank you, Iruka-sensei. Alright everyone, good job today. You are dismissed," Iruka shouted over the crowd of students. They all began to go their separate ways, as Hinata, Sasuke, and Naruto met up. "Wanna go grab something to eat and then train for a while?" "Thanks for asking, Naruto-kun, but father wants me to train with him today, sorry." "It's fine, Hinata-chan, maybe some other time," said Naruto with a reassuring smile. "You and Sasuke?" "Sure, let's go." Sasuke replied as the two set off for Ichiraku Ramen. After they ate, the two went to Naruto's house to use his training field, where they stayed until it was almost dark outside. "You wanna come over for dinner?" "I'm sure mom wouldn't mind," said Sasuke once they were done training. "Sure, let me clean up real quick though," replied Naruto as he ran inside and took a shower. 20 minutes later. Naruto and Sasuke were almost at the Uchiha compound when they heard what sounded like a fight going on inside, so they took off to check it out. Once they arrived inside, both boys were almost sick. Bodies were lying everywhere in the streets, and the only people they could see still alive were Itachi and Anbu, and they were fighting. Itachi yelled Sasuke as he started running towards the group, followed by Naruto. Itachi didn't have time to look up as he was fighting at an 8-to-1 disadvantage. He soon found an opening and stuck a kunai into one of the men's throats. Sasuke, for his part, ran in and tried to stab one of the root in the back while he was distracted, but failed as the root broke away and kicked Sasuke into a wall across the street, knocking him out. Naruto was worried about Sasuke, but knew he had to focus right now. "Cage Bunshin no," he shouted as 50 clones appeared and swarmed the two roots that broke away from the fight. It only took Root a couple of minutes to disperse the clones, and the only injuries they had were a few cuts here and there. They then turned their attention to the real Naruto. He tried to fight back, but it was no use against the best of Danzo's soldiers, and they quickly began to beat him, before one of them slashed him across the left eye with a kunai and kicked him away, leaving him for dead. "You're pathetic, Kit. Every time you get in a fight I have to come bail you out. I would be the laughing stock of the other if they knew my container was so weak. You're just lucky I would die with you or I'd let the men kill you. Take my power and do away with those men that threaten you." Growled Kurama to Naruto, who was now in his mindscape. "Thanks." Naruto said as he faded away. Back in the real world. Itachi wasn't faring too well against the 7 root members until they all stopped briefly as they felt a chakra source and killing intent that would bring a normal man to his knees. Naruto's prone form on the ground started leaking off red chakra in waves as his eyes became slitted, his whiskers darkened, and his canines grew out. "This is the end for you idiots. You dare come here and kill the family of my friends, for that you will die," said the now Kyuubified Naruto as he held out his arms and sent 2 chakra arms to the group of root, crushing 2 of them in a shower of blood. Itachi seized this advantage and beheaded another of them, making it now 4-on-2. 2 of the roots turned from Itachi and went after Naruto, while the other 2 stayed with Itachi. Since these 2 were actually expecting a fight, they weren't as easy to kill and managed to still get another few blows out on Naruto. He fought them to a stalemate for a while before he breathed out a stream of fire that caught one of them and burned most of his body away. The second quickly dodged and made it inside of Naruto's guard due to the distraction before he took a slash with his tanto and claimed Naruto's other eye. Once Naruto got hit, he roared in pain before releasing a vortex of flames from his body that finished off the root before passing out himself. Itachi, now with only 2-on-1 odds, made quick work of the other 2 with his ninja 2, decapitating both. After the fight, he made a shadow clone that shunshed straight to the Hokage's office to alert him of what happened. Within a minute, Hiruzen and a squad of Anbu appeared beside Itachi in the compound. "Itachi, report." Hiruzen said as he looked around at the mess. All was going according to plan until these root Anbu attacked. While I was fighting them, Sasuke-kun and Naruto-kun showed up. Sasuke was knocked out immediately, but Naruto managed to kill 4 of them with Kyuubi's help. If he hadn't shown up I probably would have died, but unfortunately he lost both of his eyes in the fight. Hiruzen was visibly upset that his surrogate grandson was blind and could now never become the Hokage he dreamed to be. I see Anbu, clean up this mess and find any survivors. I have a way to fix his eyes, if you will allow it, Hokage-sama. Itachi said, noticing that Hiruzen was upset. Hiruzen instantly became less tense as he said, do whatever you can to fix it. Replied Itachi as he walked into his house briefly before coming back out with a jar that had 2 eyes floating in it. He knelt down beside Naruto and did a quick series of hand seals with one hand as he opened the jar and pulled out one of these eyes. His free hand then started to glow green before he reached it down and made a C shape with his thumb and index finger and opened up Naruto's right eyelid to reveal the disfigured eye. He then pulled out the eye and replaced it with the one in his other hand. After it was in, he repeated the process with Naruto's other eye before placing him in to keep him asleep until he could get to the hospital. There, he should be fine after some rest in the hospital. Thank you, Itachi-kun. If you don't mind me asking, who did they belong to? Hiruzen replied. They were my Fugakus. But on another note, what do we do about the root? Simple, they went rogue and invaded the compound and you killed them to protect the clan. You will claim innocence so that you don't have to go rogue. I see. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Thanks for what? Itachi just chuckled at that, despite all that had happened tonight. 2 days later. Where am I? Thought Naruto as he slowly started to regain consciousness. And why can't I see anything? He tried for a second to open his eyes, but found that he couldn't. The fight, I lost both my eyes. I'm blind, he started shouting. This woke Hiruzen, who was sitting beside Naruto's bed but had dozed off. Naruto-kun, he yelled, calm down for a moment and let me explain. That voice, is that Jiji? Naruto asked, calming down at the voice of his grandfather figure. Yes, Naruto-kun, it's me. What happened? Some rude Anbu went rogue and invaded the Uchiha compound, trying to eliminate them for reasons unknown, but you and Itachi-kun managed to stop them. Unfortunately, as I guess you know, you lost both of your eyes in the fight. However, Itachi-kun managed to fix them. Then why can't I see? Your eyes are still bandaged, Naruto-kun. In order to fix your eyesight, Itachi took the Sharingan eyes from his father, who was killed in the fight. So I have a dead guy's eyes, said Naruto, turning green. Yes, but it isn't that bad. You're like Kakashi now. You are only the second non-Uchiha to have a Sharingan. I see, when can I take the bandages off? It should be okay to remove them now, you've been out for over 2 days. Okay then, replied Naruto as he began to unwrap the bandages around his head. Soon he was finished and looked at the world with a whole new light. Hiruzen, for his part, was shocked. When he looked at Naruto's new eyes, he saw a Mangekyo Sharingan. The pattern looked similar to a biohazard symbol. See my profile for a picture. Naruto-kun, can you deactivate your eyes? Naruto wasn't sure why, but somehow he knew how to deactivate the eyes, so he did so, showing plain onyx eyes. It sure is weird seeing Naruto without those deep blue eyes of his. Hiruzen thought as he stared at the black orbs. Now turn them back on. Naruto did so, revealing the normal 3-tomo Sharingan. Also, you have a special version, called the Mangekyo, can you activate that one? The 3-tomo in Naruto's eyes began to spin rapidly before merging into his Mangekyo form. Good, you can turn them back off now. Naruto turned off his Mangekyo, but left the 3-tomo active. Why did you leave the Sharingan on, Naruto-kun? I need to get used to seeing them. By the way, Jiji, how is Sasuke? He is fine, he got a concussion but should be awake by the morning. Okay then, thanks Jiji. Naruto said as he stood and gave the old man a hug. Hiruzen smiled a bit at that and said, okay Naruto-kun, you're free to go now. I'll see you later. Okay, bye Jiji. Naruto said as Hiruzen walked out the door. Naruto-kun, I'm glad that you're okay. Said Hinata as she walked out of the hospital alongside Naruto. Yay, I just feel bad for Sasuke. A lot of his family died, and for no reason. Naruto replied with a tone of sadness in his voice. Well, he didn't know what it was like to lose someone close, he knew what it was like to be lonely, having grown up with no one. Yes, but at least Sasuke-kun still has his mom and Itachi. Yay, and he has us too. Said Naruto with determination. Of course. Replied Hinata with a smile. By this time the pair had made it out of the hospital and onto the street, headed for Ichiraku's to grab a bite to eat. Both of them couldn't help but notice that the glares Naruto usually received now seemed worse. As they continued along, they heard some of the people murmur, damn demon, he's obviously responsible for the massacre. And I heard he stole the Sharingan from them after he killed them all. It upset Hinata that people were blaming Naruto for what happened when he actually helped to stop the rogue Anbu. Naruto-kun, I wish people weren't like that. Naruto, for his part, was already used to the glares and hatred, he only hoped that it would stay just that, glares and rumors. He didn't want to be attacked again after that night he killed that group of villagers. They finally arrived at Ichiraku's, much to Hinata's pleasure. In here, the people couldn't be mean to Naruto. Tsuchi and AM had been among the first people to accept Naruto and treat him well, and wouldn't allow anyone to bully Naruto in their presence. "Hey old man. Mizo ramen with beef for me, and keep 'em coming," Naruto said as they walked in and took their seats. "Sure thing Naruto-kun. And what would you like about Hinata-chan?" replied Tsuchi. "I'll have vegetable ramen please." Hinata said politely. "I'll have them out in just a minute then." Said Tsuchi as he walked into the back to prepare their food. As soon as Tsuchi made it through the door, AM burst out and sprinted around the counter to wrap Naruto in a hug. "I was so worried about you, Itado. I heard you were injured in a fight at the Uchiha compound. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Nichin. You should know that nothing can keep me down until I become Hokage," Naruto stated with conviction as AM smiled. "I know, but I can't help but worry about myself. Thanks." Naruto said as she walked back behind the counter and grabbed their food from her dad. "Itadakimasu," Naruto half shouted as he began to eat with a fury that only 2 days without food can cause. Hinata and AM both sweat dropped at his manners, but both also knew that he hadn't eaten in a couple of days, so they decided to allow it. Just this once. Hinata and Naruto both finished eating while chatting with Tsuchi and AM, which lasted for a while, considering that Naruto downed nearly 30 bowls. After they were done with the meal they both stood to leave as Hinata reached into her pocket for some money to pay for her meal. Upon seeing this, Naruto stopped her and pulled out enough to pay for both of their meals. Thanks, Naruto-kun," said Hinata with a light blush as they left and began to walk towards her home. "It's no problem Hinata-chan, I ask you to come, so it's only right that I pay, right?" Naruto replied as he smiled and rubbed the back of his neck. "You really didn't have to think. It was no problem at all." The two then continued their walk, making small talk, before they arrived near the Hyuga compound. "See you tomorrow, Hinata-chan." Naruto said as he gave her a quick hug, making her blush brightly. "Sure, Naruto-kun. Thank you for walking me home." She stuttered out before walking inside. As soon as she made it in, one of the branch family members approached her and said, "Hinata-sama, Hiashi-sama requests your presence." "Hi. Thank you." Hinata replied with a small bow. Hinata then made her way to her father's study and knocked on the door, worrying about what he might want. Though she had gotten slightly better with her confidence issues, being with her father still rattled her. He had been very cold and distant to her ever since her mother died a couple of years ago. Enter. Came the flat voice of Hiashi, her father. She opened the door and walked inside before bowing to him. "Hello Tausen, you wanted to see me," she said, barely managing not to stutter. "Yes, I have a few questions for you." Hinata just nodded her acknowledgement as a sign for him to continue. "I am told that you are associating with an Uchiha and the Uzumaki child, yes?" "Yes Tausen." "I see. I am not pleased by this. You know our clan has bad blood with the Uchiha, and the Uzumaki is nothing but trouble." "But Tausen they." "No buts Hinata. They are trash, and you shall not see them again." "Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, you are my only friends, how can I not see you anymore?" thought Hinata. "But my word is final. You will not associate with them anymore. Is that clear?" Hinata was saddened now, almost to the point of tears at the thought of losing her friends. It was then that something inside of her decided to snap. "No." Hinata said with a newfound conviction. "What was that?" Hiashi replied with anger evident in his voice. "I said no. I will not stop talking to my friends. You dare defy my word, you need to learn your place, girl. You will not control my life. Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun are my friends, and it will remain that way." Hinata yelled only to be slapped in the face by the enraged Hiashi. "Get out of my sight. I will decide a fitting punishment for your insolence by the morning." Said Hiashi as he glared daggers at Hinata. Hinata got up and left the room without another word. "Insolent little bitch, she is too soft to be the heir anyways, she would bring disgrace to our name. Perhaps Niji would be a suitable replacement. Even though he was born into the branch house he is quite the prodigy. That's it. I shall banish Hinata and give her the seal, and then remove Niji's and name him clan heir." Hiashi thought. "With Hinata. I can't believe he would try to take them away from me." Hinata thought as she walked to her room. "I would never give up Naruto-kun and Sasuke-kun. I just can't believe I actually stood up to him either." With Naruto after he left Hinata, Naruto began his trek back towards the Hokage's office to gain entry to his house, ignoring the continued glares of the villagers. After a while, he noticed someone following him. "Come on, not this again. I'm still too far away from the tower to receive help." Ugh. He thought as he altered his path towards the nearest training ground. Damn, more of them keep joining in. He soon arrived and turned to the stalkers. "Come on out, I know you're there." To his surprise, it was a group of 5 people, and 3 of them had on vests. "Just great. Are you prepared to die?" Demon said one of them. "I've never bothered you before. Can't you just leave me alone, Naruto shouted. Never bothered us. You killed my father 8 years ago, and now you killed half of the Uchiha clan. We're gonna make you pay, said the next as he lunged at Naruto. Naruto quickly leapt out of his way to dodge the attack, but was met by the first, who punched him in the face and knocked him into a tree. Before Naruto even managed to hit the ground, he was kicked in the ribs and knocked away once more. He regained his composure in mid-flight and landed feet first to a tree and stuck to it. It was then that he remembered having his Sharingan, so he activated it to see if it would give him an edge. Once he activated his eyes, it was like the difference between night and day. Movements he could barely track before were now clearly visible, and he could predict what move they would make next easily. The next one to attack appeared to be a genin in his mid-teens. He leapt towards Naruto with a kunai, intending to slash his throat. Naruto saw the movie before he made it, so he pulled out his own kunai and ducked under the slash before jumping back up and burying it hilt deep in the man's chest, before kicking the body away just in time to a slash from a sword by the other genin. This one was a girl who appeared to be about 14 to 15 years old. He shifted to the left just enough to dodge the sword strike before coming up with another kunai and cutting into the arm that was holding said sword. She screamed and let go of the sword before spinning to throw a kick at Naruto's head. He saw it coming and easily ducked under it before kicking her in the chest, sending her flying. He then grabbed the sword that she dropped and blocked a slash from a kunai by the third dot. They then leapt away and began to do hand seals. Naruto stuck his new sword in the ground and quickly began to copy him. Kaiten. End and fire release. Flame bullet, they simultaneously shouted as they blew out a stream of flames at each other. The flames collided and dispersed each other in a cloud of steam. Naruto, with his Sharingan, could easily see through the steam, while he couldn't. Naruto grabbed the sword out of the ground and formed a shadow clone. Before the clone leapt through the smoke and engaged the dot, it didn't take long for them to land a hit on the clone and dispel it. Shadow clone was his last dot as his head left his shoulders and rolled across the ground. Naruto then stopped to look around to find the other two attackers. Just as he found one of them running towards him with a kunai, he heard a new voice say Kaiten. Kakaki no Jutsu. Fire release. Grand Fireball, before a massive stream of fire swept across the ground in front of him and turned the attacking to ash before turning and incinerating the girl that he knocked out previously. Sorry it took me so long to get here, Naruto-kun. You can take it easy now, good job so far. Said the mysterious voice that belonged to an Anbu in a weasel mask. Weasel then threw out several shuriken before going through hand seals so fast that Naruto couldn't even follow with his Sharingan. Kaiten. Hausenkan no Jutsu. He said as he blew out several balls of fire that enveloped the shuriken before they all flew at the last remaining combatant, slicing and burning him beyond recognition. Who are you? Asked Naruto, awed by the man's performance. As of right now, my name is Weasel. You may call me Itachi though, Naruto-kun. Said Itachi as he removed his mask. You're Sasuke's brother, right? Naruto asked. That is correct, Naruto-kun. I'm sorry about your clan, Itachi-kun. You don't know the half of it. Wait, did he call me Itachi-kun? Thank you for your condolences. And kun. Well, you called me Naruto-kun. Do you mind if I call you Itachi-kun? No, feel free. Thank you. Naruto replied with a smile. Well, Naruto-kun, we should report on the Hokage. Right. Naruto said as Itachi put a hand on his shoulder and shunshined them to Hiruzen's office. Itachi-kun, Naruto-kun, what brings you two here? Said Hiruzen as he stuffed some tobacco into his pipe and lit it up. Naruto-kun was attacked by a few shinobi. Itachi said plainly. Hiruzen's eyes lit up a bit in worry as he said, I see. What happened? Well, I was walking home after I dropped Hinata-chan off at the Hyuga compound when I noticed I was being followed. I then led them to the nearest training field in case they caused any trouble. After we got there, they called me a demon and blamed me for killing the Uchiha before attacking me. I managed to take out two of them and incapacitate a third before Itachi-kun arrived and swiftly dealt with the remaining two. I see, fools. You did good to defend yourself until Itachi could arrive at Naruto-kun. And thank you, Itachi-kun, for arriving swiftly to help. It is no problem, Hokage-sama. It is the least I could do. Without Naruto-kun I would have likely died by the root. Speaking of which, what is root? Naruto asked. They are a special group of Anbu that are led by Danzo. They typically work in the shadows and stay out of the public eye. Hiruzen explained. Why would they attack the Uchiha? We aren't sure, but we think they may have just cracked under the stress. Hiruzen lied expertly. Oh, I see. Anyways, Naruto-kun, are you okay? Gigi, I'm fine. They barely touched me because of the Sharingan. I didn't figure he would be able to use it so quickly. Good job, Naruto-kun. I see. Well, if you are okay then you can go home. Said Hiruzen as Naruto walked over to the wall and did some hand seals before the wall opened up and walked in and disappeared. So Itachi-kun, what did you think of Naruto-kun's performance? He is good for his age, that is for sure, but he needs to be better. I was actually thinking about training him and me for a while and having them join Anbu, if that is okay with you. Actually, I was going to suggest something along those lines myself. Being an Anbu would prevent this from happening, as well as make them both strong shinobi. Yay, I shall begin as soon as Sasuke-kun is cleared then. Okay then, I'll assign this to you as a long-term mission, that way you won't be interrupted unless absolutely necessary. Thank you Hokage-sama. Thank you as well. You may be dismissed. The next day. Naruto woke up as normal and began his normal morning routine before leaving home on his way to see Sasuke and then go to school. Morning Jiji. Naruto said as he appeared in the Hokage's office. Good morning Naruto-kun. How do you feel? Hiruzen asked, concerned that Naruto was once again forced to kill more people the night before. I'm okay Jiji. I'm just headed to see Sasuke and then to school. Actually Hiruzen began as he looked over at the young blonde. How would you like to be trained by Itachi alongside Sasuke instead of attending the academy? Really? I would like that, but I would miss seeing Hinata-chan. You don't have to worry about that Naruto-kun, you would still have free time to spend with your friends. Really, if I still get to see her then of course I'll accept. Itachi is really strong so he'd make sure I'm good enough to take your spot in no time, Naruto replied with a smile. He is a very talented shinobi and the best candidate to teach you now that you have the Sharingan. You can go on and visit Sasuke now and come back here to meet Itachi when you're done. Okay. Thanks Jiji, said Naruto as he left the room with a smile on his face. Hyuga compound. Hinata was ready to begin her day, she had already got ready and was about to leave when there was a knock at her door. Hinata-sama, Hiashi-sama requests your presence once more. Ugh, what could he want now? I hoped he would let it drop after last night. She thought as she left her room to see what he wanted. It only took a few minutes for her to arrive at her father's study where she knocked on the door. Enter. She opened the door and walked in to stand in front of his desk. You wanted to see me, she said with no emotion in her voice. Yes I did. Pertaining to your insolence last night, I have come to a decision. I do not see you fit to be the next leader of this clan, as such, you are hereby banished from the clan and stripped of the Hyuga name. Those words felt like a hammer hitting Hinata in the chest. She was upset with her father's attitude about her friends, but didn't imagine him to do anything like this. She was only 8 years old and now banished from her house and family. How will I survive? I'm not old enough to live alone, she thought. And furthermore, once you return from the academy today, you will be given the seal before taking your things and leaving. She was now almost in shock at the news of receiving the seal. She was almost in tears, so she simply nodded her head before turning and leaving. She began walking through the village towards the hospital to visit Sasuke, pondering her father's words and fighting back the tears that threatened to fall. A few minutes later, at the hospital. Naruto had just arrived at the hospital to see that Sasuke was still asleep. He didn't want to disturb him, so he only sat there for a few minutes before standing to leave. When he made it to the door, however, he almost bumped into Hinata, who had a distant look on her face and wasn't paying attention to where she was going. Oh hey Hinata-chan, sorry about that, he said as he backed up to let her in the room. She didn't reply to him though as she just walked in and sat down in a chair near Sasuke's bed. Hinata-chan, Naruto said again, to no reply. He then walked over closer to her and looked at her better, noticing that she was blankly staring at the wall, with tears obviously threatening to fall at any minute. Hinata-chan, are you okay, he said softly, only inches from her face. It was then that she snapped back to reality and glomped onto him as the dams behind her eyes broke. She sobbed into his shoulder for several minutes before she finally settled down and started to speak. Naruto-kun sniff. I'm sorry but my father disowned me and banished me from the clan this morning. Sniff, then he told me sniff that I was going to get the seal. She managed to choke out before she started crying again. What's going on, came a new voice that startled both Naruto and Hinata. Oh Sasuke, you're finally awake, good, Naruto said as he held on to Hinata. She said that her dad disowned her this morning. I see, idiot. Sasuke growled as his one Tomo Sharingan subconsciously activated. It's okay, Sasuke-kun, don't be angry with me. Hinata managed to say. Sasuke then calmed down, but his Sharingan remained active as he tried to sit up in bed. You feel better now, Princess, Naruto asked Sasuke with a chuckle, which earned him a Sharingan enhanced glare. Well, it looks like you finally woke up your Sharingan. Naruto said, now with genuine praise. Really, Sasuke said as he saw his reflection on a window. Cool, but speaking of eyes and such, weren't your eyes blue? Naruto's face then turned to a saddened expression. Yeah, I got this in both of my eyes during the fight though, so Itachi gave me a set of Sharingan eyes from one of the ones who didn't make it. Oh, I see. Can you use the Sharingan? Sasuke asked. Naruto replied by activating his 3 Tomo and having them spin around slowly. Cool, but it won't help you any, I'm still gonna beat you. Sasuke replied with a smirk. I doubt it is a loser. Naruto said with his own smirk. but get dressed, we need to go see Gigi. Okay, give me a minute. Sasuke replied as Naruto led Hinata out of the room. A few minutes later the three left the hospital and made their way to the Hokage Tower and into Hiruzen's office. Hey Gigi. Naruto said as they walked inside. Hello everyone. I'm glad to see you up again now Sasuke. Replied Hiruzen. Thank you Hokage-sama. And what is wrong with Hinata? Hiruzen asked, which caused Naruto's face to turn serious. She said that her father banished her from the clan and told her she was getting sealed later today, though that's all I know. Naruto replied. Hinata, would you mind telling me what happened please? Hinata then proceeded to explain what happened the previous night and the morning. It angered everyone in the room that Hiashi would kick her out, as well as the personal insults to Naruto and Sasuke. While it pissed Hiruzen off highly that someone would do that to their own daughter, he knew there was nothing he could do, as it was a clan matter. Well, I am not happy about it, but it's not my place to interfere in clan affairs. I'm sorry. He said as he hung his head in defeat. Now everyone thought Naruto wasn't very smart, he was actually very intelligent, he just chose not to use that knowledge in school. That being said, Naruto picked up on something that everyone else missed. Hinata-chan, can you repeat that again please? He said, earning a confused look from Hiruzen and Sasuke as Hinata began to retell the story. I see, Naruto said as he pondered over what Hinata just said. What are you getting at Naruto-kun? Hiruzen asked, still confused. Hinata-chan, this is very important, did you tell the story in the exact order that it happened? Naruto said. Yes, it is. Hinata replied. So just to be sure, he banished you from the clan and then said you will get the seal. Yes, Hinata said, not seeing where he was going with this. Hiruzen, however, finally picked up on it. His face lit up in surprise as he realized what Naruto was saying. Naruto just smiled when he saw that Hiruzen now understood. If you are now banished and therefore no longer a Hyuga, then it is no longer a clan issue, but an issue with one of our Hokage's future shinobi. Both Hinata and Sasuke now realized what he was saying. Hinata's face lit up as she realized she was safe, while Sasuke let out a small chuckle. Naruto could be a dumbass at times, but he was truly a genius when it mattered. Naruto-kun, you are right. If she is already disowned, then Hiashi-san has no right to touch her, doing so would amount to assaulting a citizen, which is illegal. Hiruzen said with a smile, partly because Hinata was now safe, and partly because Naruto had shown his brighter side with his comment. Thank you so much Naruto-kun, Hinata shouted as she glomped on him again. You're welcome, Hinata-chan. Naruto said with a smile as he hugged her back. Sorry to interrupt, but there is still the issue of what will happen to Hinata. Though she is free from the seal, she is still banished from the clan and has nowhere to go. Hiruzen said with a serious tone. Oh yay. Said Naruto in a more somber expression. Hinata also sulked up once more after thinking about that. The room stayed in silence for a moment before Naruto perked up and spoke again. Hey Gigi, I've got plenty of extra rooms in my house, she could stay with me. Naruto-kun wants me to live with him, Hinata thought as she got a little lightheaded. Hinata, what do you think of this? Hiruzen asked with a small smirk at her expense. Hinata just nodded her head yes, not trusting her voice to work right. Okay then, that sounds like a plan. Hiruzen said. Hinata, you can go on to the academy now. Report here once you leave please. Thank you Hokage-sama. She said with a deep bow before walking out the door. It was then that Itachi chose to appear in the room with the trio. Hokage-sama, Sasuke-kun, Naruto-kun. He said with a small bow to the Hokage. Hello Itachi, how are you? Replied Hiruzen. Fine, thank you. Itachi said as he turned to Naruto and Sasuke. Now then, Sasuke-kun, do you want to receive training from me instead of attending the academy? Of course Aniki, Sasuke said happily. He respected his big brother more than anyone else in the world and loved training under him. Okay then, are you ready to begin? Yay. Naruto-kun. Me too. Okay then, meet me at the Uchiha training field in 1 hour please. Okay, chorused the boys as they ran home to get ready. So, Hokage-sama, how do you believe Hiashi-san will take the news? Itachi said once the boys were gone. I doubt he will be very happy about it. I intend to personally escort Hinata-san to retrieve her personal belongings this afternoon. I see. Shall myself and my new team come as well? If you wish. Though I know it isn't right, I would like for you all to be there, so that it makes it worse when Hiashi learns that Naruto picked apart his plan. Hiruzen said with a chuckle. Surprisingly, the ever-stoic Itachi also laughed, and twice in 1 week at that. Okay then, if I may, I'll take my leave now to prepare for the boys' lesson. Dismissed. Hiruzen said as Itachi disappeared in a flock of ravens. 45 minutes later, Uchiha training grounds. Okay, I want you two to know that this training will not be easy. I intend to have you both enrolled in Anbu by the time you turn 10. Do you understand? Itachi said to the two boys standing in front of him. Yes, Itachi-sensei. They both said at once. Good. Now for today's first lesson, I will be teaching you both the Shunshin. Normally the technique is reserved for level shinobi, but it is infinitely helpful, so you will learn it today. Both of you activate your Sharingan. Itachi said as both boys did so. Itachi then slowly gathered the chakra to perform a shunshin to the other side of the field and back. Did you see how I did that, he asked as both of them nodded. Now you try. Naruto and Sasuke then formed the ram sign to assist in the chakra gathering before both disappeared from their spots. 20 feet from their previous location, there was a hollow thunk, and both boys were seen lying on the ground holding their heads. You must concentrate on the destination to control the travel. Without good focus, this will happen again. Try again. Both boys once more stood up and formed the ram sign before disappearing and reappearing about 20 feet away again. Okay, good. Now, I want you both to stop here. Itachi said as he threw two kunai about 6 feet apart and 50 feet away from the boys. They once again made the ram sign and disappeared. Naruto appeared about 30 feet in front of him, while Sasuke made it only 25 feet. Both growled in frustration before Itachi spoke up. Move back to 50 feet and try again until you can do it. They proceeded for the next 2 hours, going back and forth, until finally they could both land on the target from 50 feet. Good job, now shall we break for lunch, Itachi said as the three walked towards the house to eat. Once they arrived inside, they saw Mikoto setting the table. Right on time. She said with a smile. Thanks, Kasan. Said both Itachi and Sasuke. Thank you, Mikoto-san. Naruto said as they all took a spot at the table. You're all welcome. She said in her still happy voice. And Naruto, just call me Mikoto or Basin, okay? Okay, Basin. Naruto said with a small smile. Itadakimasu, Mikoto said as they all began to eat. Half an hour later. The next lesson will be to follow me while I shunshin. Ready, said Itachi as they once more stood in the training field. Both boys nodded and Itachi disappeared in a flock of ravens. They both formed the ram sign and did the same, appearing a foot away from him. Too slow. You must learn to do it without the hand seal. Try again. Itachi said as he disappeared again. Neither boy was able to follow him this time though, as it took a while to get the chakra right without the seal. You have 1 hour to learn to shunshin without the seal. Itachi said again as the boys continued trying. Much to Itachi's surprise, it only took them about 30 minutes to figure it out. Okay, back to the lesson. Keep up with me. Itachi said and disappeared. Both boys quickly followed his chakra signature and flickered away to land beside him. Itachi simply disappeared again, so they followed him once more. This continued for about an hour until the boys could keep up with Itachi. Next is to make a distraction when you go. Most people in Konoha use leaves, he said as he disappeared in a swirl of leaves to reappear a few feet away. I prefer to use it to show ravens flying away. He said as he demonstrated again. For now, just practice with leaves. Yes, sensei. They both said as they began to kick up dust and leaves. Once they had both accomplished a correct shunshin, Itachi stopped them for the day and said to meet back at the Hokage's office at 3 p.m. Hokage's office. At 3 on the dot, Naruto, Itachi, and Sasuke all appeared inside the Hokage's office via shunshin. So you taught them the shunshin today, I see. Hiruzen said to Itachi as they entered. Yeah, they learned quickly. I believe they will both be good shinobi in no time. Itachi said, making Naruto and Sasuke smile. So Gigi, what are we here for? Naruto asked. Hinata has to go home and get her belongings, and I fear that Hiashi-sen won't be happy about her not receiving the seal, so we are going to escort her. Oh, okay then, that makes sense. Naruto said. A few minutes later, Hinata arrived and the group left to go get her belongings from the Hyuga compound. Hinata went in to try and get through the episode without problem, but as Murphy's Law states, it didn't happen that way. With Hinata. Hello, Hiashi-sen. Said Hinata as she walked into her former house. Hinata. Hiashi replied with a glare. Please come with me to receive your seal now. Actually, Hiashi-san, you cannot do that by order of Hokage-sama. You can't fool me, girl. That old fool has no say in any clan affairs. I can do anything I wish to you because you are a Hyuga. It was at this moment that a large vortex of leaves surrounded Hinata, revealing Hiruzen, Itachi, Naruto, and Sasuke, the latter three having their Sharingan activated. You are right, Hyuga-san, this old fool doesn't have a say in any clan-related matters. I do, however, control the fate of all other citizens and shinobi in this village. Hiruzen said with a cold stare towards Hiashi. Yes, and your point, Hiashi said with an annoyed tone. Hinata, as of this morning, is no longer a Hyuga. That being said, I have authority over her, and she will not be given your cursed seal. For you to do so would be assault on a civilian of Konoha, which is a crime punishable by imprisonment. Hiruzen replied with a smirk. She is my daughter and as such I have the final say on what happens to her. Wrong. According to Hinata-san here, you officially disowned and banished her this morning, which makes her no longer a Hyuga, nor your daughter. You will not touch her. Itachi said as the three Tomo in his eyes began to spin rapidly while he glared at Hiashi. You have no right to speak Haracha. I will do as I please within my clan, Hiashi said as he stepped towards Itachi and activated his Byakugan. The next second found a tanto at Hiashi's throat, courtesy of Itachi. You make one more step and I will paint these walls with your blood. Itachi said barely louder than a whisper. Hiashi wasted no time in deactivating his Byakugan and backing away from Itachi. Now Hyuga-san, Hinata-san is going to retrieve her personal belongings and you will not speak again. Furthermore, after we leave here, she has a restraining order against you. If you break the restraining order, your life is forfeit. Hiruzen said as Hinata left to get her things. After only a few minutes, Hinata came back out with a backpack full of her things and the group left as Hiashi glared at them. Later that night, after they retrieved her few belongings from her old house, Naruto and Hinata went back to their house to get her settled in. The room she chose was already furnished, so she didn't have to buy furniture or anything. All she had to buy now, besides groceries, she refused to eat instant ramen for every meal, was new clothes. As she left all of her old ones save for the one she wore at Hiashi's house. Her outfit now, rather than the bulky coat and blue pants she used to wear, was now a lavender tank top shirt over a chainmail t-shirt and a pair of blue short shorts with chainmail leggings that stopped just above the knees. She had decided on the outfit after Naruto told her that she shouldn't try to hide herself because she was really pretty. Of course she fainted after hearing that, once again worrying Naruto about her health. Poor oblivious Naruto. Hinata was actually quite nervous about living with her crush, as was to be expected. They were both too young for anything inappropriate, but it still made her feel weird about moving in with him at 8 years old. Naruto, for his part, tried his best to help Hinata settle in and be comfortable, but had little luck in calming her down. He figured she would get better once the shock wore off. After all, it's not every day that you get kicked out of home at 8 and have to move in with a friend. It didn't take long for Hinata to fall asleep after she was settled in. All of the day's happenings had worn her out. The next day, Naruto and Hinata both got up and got ready for their day. Naruto wished Hinata luck before he left to meet with Itachi. Of Team Itachi. Today, I will be working on your Taijutsu and developing Sasuke Sharingan to the 3 Tomo stage. Itachi said to Naruto and Sasuke. Both of you will have your Sharingan active this whole day. Now I'd like to see you two spar, don't hold back. Naruto and Sasuke then turned to face each other and gave a small bow. Begin. Said Itachi as the two boys charged at each other. Sasuke quickly pulled out several shuriken and launched them at Naruto, who had no problem dodging them due to his Sharingan. They continued to run towards each other until they met and Sasuke launched a series of punches and kicks at Naruto, who again dodged them all. Naruto finally saw an opening in Sasuke's stance and punched him in the chest, knocking him up into the air. Naruto followed through with his punch and grabbed Sasuke's shins, spinning and planting him into the ground hard before flipping back into his ready stance. Sasuke didn't stay down long before standing back into his own stance before Itachi spoke. Sasuke, calm down a bit and think about your actions rather than rushing in. Sasuke nodded his head and the boys ran at each other again. Sasuke indeed slowed down his strikes and sent them with more precision, but it did little good as Naruto could see them coming and either block or dodge them. Naruto once more mounted a counter-attack and quickly subdued Sasuke once more. Sasuke managed to last a few minutes this time, but with Naruto's superior Sharingan, he made quick work of picking apart Sasuke's guard. Okay, that will be all for now. You have 10 minutes to rest before we move on. So the two boys spent the next 10 minutes sitting under a tree and drinking water while they chatted about their training. Once the rest was over, Itachi had them lined up in front of a large log, throwing kunai and shuriken at them. It only took a couple of hours for the boys to both hit nothing but the bullseye. After a short break for lunch, Itachi had the boys spar once more, this time allowing them to use ninjutsu as well. They stood a few feet apart from each other, staring each other down for a moment before Sasuke began doing hand seals. Kaiten. Housenkan no jutsu. He said as he fired off several volleyball-sized fireballs at Naruto. Suiten. Sujin Heki. Naruto shouted as he spat out a wall of water to block the fireballs. They crashed into the wall of water, creating a shroud of steam around the area. Sasuke instantly went on guard, as he couldn't see through the steam. It proved to pay off as several shuriken flew out of the steam towards him. He quickly pulled out a kunai and knocked them down before spinning and blocking a strike from Naruto, who also had a kunai in his hand. They locked into another taijutsu bout for a moment before Sasuke flew back and launched the kunai he had at Naruto. Naruto ducked under the kunai before throwing his own toward Sasuke. Sasuke easily sidestepped the kunai and was confused when he saw Naruto smirk. The next thing he knew, he felt the cold point of a blade against his neck. How? Sasuke asked in bewilderment. When the stream obscures your vision, I change a clone into that kunai. After you dodged it, he changed back and here we are. Naruto said with a smile. Good job, for a loser. Sasuke said as he let himself smile as well. Good job both of you. The final thing on today's agenda is for you two to spar against me. Itachi stepped up and said with a rare smirk. Should both boys thought at once as Itachi unleashed a wave of shuriken at them. As intended, the shuriken split the boys apart. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. Said Itachi as a single clone appeared beside him. The real Itachi leapt towards Naruto, while the clone shot off towards Sasuke. With Naruto. Damn, I have to get back to Sasuke if we are to last more than 1 minute against him. Naruto screamed in his head as he was forced to jump in the air to dodge another several shuriken. Before he could make it back to the ground, Itachi was upon him, delivering a powerful kick into his chest. Naruto flew backwards into a tree and slumped over onto the ground trying to regain his breath. As soon as he started to stand back up, he was forced to substitute himself with a log to avoid a massive fireball courtesy of Itachi. Once he was out of the way of the fireball, he shunshined himself across the field to Sasuke's position, hoping to defeat the clone and double-team the real Itachi. Unfortunately, as he phased into existence beside Sasuke, he was met with a vicious backhand to the face that rolled him across the field and left him unmoving. One down. Itachi said as he kicked Sasuke in the side and rocketed him through a tree several feet away. And there's two. Naruto's mindscape. What do you want, Kit? The gigantic fox growled out at Naruto. I need some of your chakra, but without wanting to kill everything in sight. Replied Naruto. Absolutely not. You are in no danger of dying, therefore I am in no danger of dying. I don't care what I am. I need some chakra to see how I stack up with a boost. I refuse. At this point, for some reason, Naruto's Sharingan shifted into the form of his Mangekyo, though he didn't even realize it. You will give me your chakra and leave me in control. You've been freeloading for far too long, so I demand rent. He said firmly. As you wish. Kurama said in a monotone voice. Strange, he was just arguing and then gave in so easily. Oh well, no reason to look a gift horse in the mouth. Itachi had just returned from the woods and sat Sasuke down against a tree and was on his way to collect Naruto when red chakra started floating off of Naruto in waves before forming into three tails. Can he control the Kyuubi's chakra, or did the seal weaken? Itachi pondered, slightly worried. Wow, this is nice. Said Naruto with a smile as he felt the nine-tailed demon's chakra flowing through him without the bestial instance. Naruto, is that you? Yes, Itachi-sensei. I talked the fox into loaning me his chakra to see how we match up with his power. I see. Are you ready then? Said Itachi before they both disappeared in a blur. They clashed towards the middle of the field as Naruto threw a punch at Itachi, only to have it blocked. The force of the blow did, however, blow Itachi back several feet. As Itachi was sliding backwards, he began to make hand seals, and much to his surprise, Naruto began to copy them with his Mangekyo Sharingan active. Pain. Bikaku no Jutsu Grand Fireball, they both said at the same time before blasting out a massive stream of fire at each other. They clashed in the middle and battled for dominance for a brief moment before Naruto's won, and Itachi was forced to substitute himself with a log. Bunshin Daibakuha. Clone Great Explosion, Itachi said as he formed two shadow clones beside him that instantly rushed at Naruto. Naruto simply launched himself towards the shadow clones, intent on clawing through them to dispel them. As soon as he got into range for a strike, he heard one of the clones speak one simple word: boom. Naruto was blown back out of the clearing and through a tree from exploding clones in such close proximity. Itachi wasn't the most feared shinobi in Konoha for no reason. He knew that with the fox's chakra shroud that Naruto wasn't down for the count. It proved to be a smart move, as even though he was prepared and using his Sharingan, he barely had time to dodge the rocket that was Naruto's first as the blonde shot out of the woods. Naruto, realizing he missed, tried to stop and turn back for another attack, but he had too much momentum and continued sliding across the ground backwards before he sucked in a big breath that made his chest swell out. What could this be that requires no hand seals? Damn fox. Itachi thought as he flashed through a set of hand seals for his own dot. Naruto released a breath he had sucked in, and along with it a stream of white flames the size of a school bus, aimed right at Itachi. Itachi finished his seals and gathered all the chakra he could manage before a dragon made of water that rivaled the size of Naruto's flamethrower rose out of the nearby pond and crashed into the flamethrower, covering the entire field in steam. Tsuruda no Jutsu. Itachi huffed out. He didn't have a very large chakra reserve, and that last technique took a lot out of him. He knew he'd have to finish this quickly. He didn't get long to ponder on the issue before he was forced to dodge several Volkswagen-sized fireballs coming through the steam that shrouded the area. It was thick enough that even Itachi couldn't see through it, so he figured Naruto was just firing blindly at him. What do? I can't keep up this fight with him for long. I hate to use the Mangekyo on him, but I think it may be necessary. I think I've got it. Itachi thought as he continued dodging the fireballs that never seemed to end. Page Bunshin no Jutsu Itachi said as a clone appeared beside him and took off at blinding speeds into the steam. Doten. Maguragakur no Jutsu Itachi said before disappearing under the ground. The Itachi clone charged straight at the source of the fireballs and threw several shuriken towards Naruto. Naruto let out a chakra-laced roar that knocked the kunai down before launching a red chakra arm towards the clone, catching it before he could move. Naruto grinned since he had just won this match until the Itachi in his hand poofed away. Before he could react, the real Itachi jumped out of the ground in front of him and the two made eye contact. Tsukiyomi whirled. Naruto found himself pinned to a cross as he looked out at the landscape he was in. Everything was made up of black and white and accented by a blood-red moon. Ninjutsu, Naruto thought to himself as he took in the visage. Kai, he said as he tried to pulse his chakra to cancel it, to no avail. Naruto-kun. I must congratulate you on a good fight thus far, no one has yet forced me to use this technique. This is the most powerful in the world. In here, I control everything, time, matter, and even space. Itachi said in an echoing voice as his Mangekyo Sharingan appeared on the moon. The next thing Naruto knew, he was face to face with Itachi. One day you too will be able to perform this technique. But now, I shall use it to win. Here, 72 hours will only amount to 1 second in the real world. Now for the next 3 days you will be forced to watch me eat ramen, and you will have none. Haha, Itachi said with an evil laugh. Hey, he just wants to win the match. And maybe have some fun. Not destroy Naruto's brain. No. That is inhumane, Naruto cried out as tears began to flow down his cheeks. Itachi then materialized an exact copy of Ichiraku's and sat down. Hey old man. One Mizo ramen with beef, yelled out, mimicking Naruto. No please, I can't take this, Naruto yelled as he struggled to break free. Itachi looked at him with an evil smirk before devastating bowl after bowl after bowl of ramen. It was never ending and in his world, he would never get full. It only took 2 hours of torture before Naruto passed out and slumped over on the cross. Itachi promptly chuckled and ended up as the victor. Naruto's mindscape, be warned, this section contains a highly pissed demon fox that intends to swear. Bunches. Insolent little human. I will kill you if you ever hypnotize me with those goddamned accursed eyes again, Kurama roared with an anger and killing intent that no human had ever witnessed before. Naruto managed to somehow stay conscious, which spoke volumes about his testicular fortitude, but he was shaken to his very core and couldn't manage to make his mouth produce words. Don't just stare at me. Explain yourself before I rip your head off and shit down your neck, the fox continued raging. Gulp, I don't stutter in my presence. At this point Naruto almost lost control of his bladder. I don't know what you mean by hypnotizing you, fox. Bullshit. And don't call me fox, you disrespectful little shit. You will address me as Kurama-sama. How the hell did I hypnotize you? I asked for your chakra and you agreed. The hell I did. Your Sharingan invaded my brain and forced me. I barely know how to use the Sharingan, much less brainwash the strongest of all demons, Naruto replied, getting angry at the fox for his false accusations. Damn it, I don't know how you did it, but you hypnotized me. I don't believe you. I lead you, roared Kurama as he shot his giant paw out and slammed it down at Naruto, missing by mere inches. What the hell? Give me a chance to explain here. There's no explaining. You. Shut the hell up. This is my mind and I am in charge. I will only tell you one more time, I didn't do anything to you. The fox simply growled and reached a tail to Naruto's forehead. Naruto now knew the fox couldn't hurt him, so he allowed it to happen. Suddenly the tail touched his forehead and there was a white flash, then everything was dark, he was asleep. Flashback. He was suddenly awoken by the sound of footsteps on water. His body acted on its own, opening its eyes to reveal him and began speaking. What do you want, kid? I need some of your chakra, but without wanting to kill everything in sight. Naruto replied. His body once again spoke on its own. Absolutely not. You are in no danger of dying, therefore I am in no danger of dying. I don't care what I am. I need some chakra to see how I stack up with the boost. Naruto replied once more. I refuse. Current Naruto's body spoke again. At this point Naruto from Kurama Pav witnessed the 3 Tomo and Naruto flashback. Naruto's eyes begin to spin rapidly before they merged into the familiar pattern of his Mangekyo. You will give me your chakra and leave me in control. You've been freeloading for far too long, so I demand rent. He said in a commanding voice. That was the end of it as Naruto Kyuubi's mind focused on one thing only. Obey. He then felt the chakra being pulled from his body freely. Everything then flashes white once more. Flashback end. What the hell was that? Naruto asked, stunned by what he just saw. That, kid, our meeting earlier from my perspective. Do you admit to using those damned eyes on me now? I can't deny it, but I had no idea I was doing that. Sometimes these eyes act on their own accord. Believe me, I don't intend to make your stay any more unpleasant than need be. I may need your help sometimes. I apologize for what happened. I can sense that you tell the truth, so I will let it slide, but just this once. Kurama started calmly and then exploded at the end. But still, don't expect me to freely help you now. You haven't earned any respect from me. I understand. I'll be seeing you later, Kurama-san. That is Kurama-sama to you, brat. As you just said, sama is a term of respect, and you haven't earned my respect yet. Naruto said with a cocky grin. This is understandable. Begging so that I may nap. At the academy. Hinata sat boredly at her table listening to Iruka talk about the 5 different elemental countries. It was quite a drag without Naruto and Sasuke, but they had dropped out for a fast-track Anbu school. Deep down she wished she could follow their path, but they were special prodigies, she just wasn't good enough. Sigh. Naruto-kun, Sasuke-kun, one day I would be able to stand beside you instead of walking behind you. But how, thought Hinata as she zoned out from the lesson. She needed help to catch up to her friends, but who could teach her? She has good chakra control, so she would make a good user to supplement her dot. In a dango shop on the other side of Konoha. Achoo, the noise came from a woman who some would argue to be the most beautiful woman in all of Konoha. She was around the age of 22 with deep red eyes, brown hair that dipped just below her shoulders, and a red one-armed shirt underneath a white sash-like dress that stopped just above her thighs. She also wore chainmail under the outfit, hiding her cleavage and upper thighs. Bless you, Nai-chan, came the enthusiastic voice of the woman who was arguably the second most beautiful lady in the village, even if she was hated by a large crowd for reasons beyond her control. She was around 18 years old and wore a simple chainmail t-shirt and short shorts. She also wore a knee-length trench coat that was open down the middle, leaving little to the imagination. On the lower half she wore an orange miniskirt that, like the trench coat, left little to the imagination. Thanks, Ko-chan, someone must be talking about me. Kurenai said as she rubbed her nose. I wonder if it was a man, Anko replied with mischievous eyes and a large grin. Back with Team Itachi. Itachi was sitting back against a tree, waiting for the injured youth that formed his team to wake up. Naruto was beginning to stir, so he figured that he would be the first to wake, even if he had suffered severe to him, mental trauma, since he had the fox to heal his issues. Sasuke had just taken a head kick in their brief fight, so he wouldn't be too far behind Naruto. After about 5 more minutes of waiting, Naruto opened his eyes and looked around to regain his bearings. He then remembered the awful episode that had knocked him out in the first place and began to scream and sob more in tears. Naruto-kun, calm down, Itachi said in his normal stoic voice. Naruto kept on crying. Naruto-kun, Itachi spoke up a bit now. Naruto continued to cry. No, Itachi calmly said after doing some hand seals before he spat out a small water dragon that hit Naruto and drenched him. What the hell, yelled the now soaked Naruto, breaking out of his Ramen-induced hysteria. Okay then. You were spazzing over me earlier. Naruto's eyes widened again at the thought. Oh god, that was terrible, Itachi-sensei, you are a sadist, I swear. Itachi couldn't help but chuckle at that. It seemed that he was feeling a lot more happy than normal here lately for some reason. I was running out of chakra facing off against you with the Kyuubi, so I had to end the fight fast. By the way, how did you manage to use its chakra so well? I subconsciously hypnotized it with the Mangekyo. Is there any way you can teach me more about Mangekyo, because I didn't even know I had used it until I talked to him again. I will work on that soon. We have much to cover over the next couple of years, so I will work it in. Replied Itachi as Sasuke began to stir. Ah, welcome back, Sasuke-kun, Itachi said to his little brother as he started to look around. Oh. I assume we lost the spar, said Sasuke with a chuckle. Oh yay. Bad. Naruto replied as he let out his own chuckle. With Hinata. Iruka finally decided to end his discussion and dismiss the class for the day, and Hinata was happy to finally get home. She hoped Naruto was done training for the day and was already at home waiting. Naruto-kun waiting on me at our home. She thought with a blush and a smile. On the way home she decided to stop at a dango shop to pick up some dinner for Naruto and herself, since she forbade Naruto from having ramen every meal. Once she walked in, she saw 2 beautiful young ladies sitting at the table over in the corner. They looked familiar somehow, but she couldn't recognize them off the top of her head. The old Hinata would have shied away, but with her newfound confidence, she approached them. Hello there. Sorry that I don't know your names, but I feel as if I recognize you, somehow. She said as she walked up to the 2 women in the corner. It was Anko who chose to reply. I don't recall ever seeing you before. Judging by those eyes of yours, you're a Hyuga, so I don't think that your mighty clan would have ever paid me any mind. Ko-chan. Be nice to her, Kurenai replied. Now she was never fond of the Hyuga before, due to their attitude, and when she heard that the clan head had disowned his own daughter, it drove the nail in the coffin. Actually, I am Hinata Namikaze now. I was disowned from the Hyuga clan. Replied the wide-eyed youth. Namikaze. As in the Yondaine Namikaze, Kurenai asked. She, like all teenage girls at the time, had a crush on Minato during his life. Yes. His son, Naruto, took me in since he had plenty of rooms to spare in the Namikaze estate. Aren't you a bit young to be living with your life partner? Anko asked playfully, making Hinata blush a dark shade of red. He's not my life partner. Only a friend. Sounds like you aren't happy about that, Anko continued, her smile getting bigger and more evil every second. Anko leaves the poor girl alone. I am Kurenai Yuhi, nice to meet you, Hinata. I'm sorry to hear about your clan. Anko HMPH added Kurenai before Hinata decided to reply. Anyways, I'm sorry I bothered you too. I could have swore that I recognized you from somewhere, but I guess not. She said as she bowed and turned to leave. Wait a second, Hinata, you are in the Ninja Academy, right? Yes. Since you are, heir, a Hyuga, I am sure that you have already extensively studied chakra control, yes? Yes, I have very good control, as is standard in the Hyuga. How would you like to be my apprentice then? I would love to see the power of a Hyuga unrestricted by those laws that prevent you from learning anything but the clan style. Hinata's eyes lit up a bit upon hearing that. She had just found her ticket to catch up to Naruto and Sasuke. That's where I recognize you from, you are the Genjutsu mistress, yes, Hinata said. That I am. And this here is my friend Anko Mitarashi, the snake mistress. She will likely help with your training occasionally if you choose to accept. So what do you say about my offer? It would be an honor to learn under such prestigious names. I accept. Good, Kurenai said in a jovial tone with a large smile. Thank you, Kurenai sensei. Hinata said with a small bow. Sensei, hell no, I am not that old, Kurenai screamed in her head. Make it Nai-chan, I'm far too young to be called sensei. Kurenai replied. Hinata smiled a bit at the familiar nickname. Thank you, Nai-chan. Namikaze Naruto, please step forward. Said here is in Sarutobi in a dark chamber surrounded by all of the village's Anbu. Hi, Hokage-sama. Naruto replied as he stepped out of the shadows and stood at attention. At this point a new man, dressed in standard Anbu gear with a dog mask and a white cloak stepped forward. Please have a seat, Namikaze. The man said. Hi, Tora Taichu. Naruto replied as he walked to the lone chair in the middle of the room. Tora then handed Naruto a kunai and said, cut your palm and pour some of your blood into this ink. As he held out a vial of black ink. Naruto cut his palm open without flinching and let the blood drain into the vial. And now your chakra. Tora commanded. Naruto stuck his palm out over the vial, and a blue haze swirled forth into the vial, making the ink glow blue momentarily. Namikaze Naruto, do you swear your allegiance solely to the village of Konoha and the Hokage? Asked Tora. I do. And do you swear to do all that is in your power, up to and including forfeiting your very life to protect and defend this village and her people? I do. Then by the power vested in me as the commander of Konoha's Anbu, I hereby welcome you to the Brotherhood. Tora said as he began to mark Naruto with the standard Anbu tattoo on his left shoulder. It is an honor. Replied Naruto once the tattoo was complete. Please come with me to receive your mask and uniform. Hi, Taichu. Naruto replied as he stood up and the pair left the room. After a short walk down a corridor they came to another room and entered it. Tora went to a shelf and returned with a bundle of clothes that he handed to Naruto. Now pick your mask. Keep in mind that your mask will be your name as well at all times you are on duty. Also, your mask will be your lifeblood, as your identity is to remain unknown to all of those outside of Anbu. Naruto scanned the wall in front of him for only a brief moment before he walked over and grabbed a fox mask off of the wall. I had a feeling you would choose that one. You know it has been 10 years since anyone wore that mask. The last kitsune took his own life shortly after the Kyuubi's attack, though I believe you will bring honor to it. Naruto nodded before strapping his mask on and channeling chakra into it, making the inside clear so that he could see through it. Get dressed and meet me back in the main hall for Uchiha Sasuke's induction. Hi. Naruto said as Tora walked off and Naruto quickly changed into the black and gray Anbu gear before running off into the main hall to watch the procedure repeated for Sasuke. Sasuke went through the same process as Naruto had just before, choosing the mask named Taka. I would like everyone to give congratulations to our newest member of Delta Squad. Kitsune and Taka. Tora said as the room erupted in cheers. Weasel, Nico, would you like to meet your new teammates? Itachi and the Anbu with a cat mask and long purple hair stepped forward to the two boys and patted them on the shoulder. Congratulations Kitsune, Taka. It is an honor to have you on my team. Itachi said. It is an honor to serve under you, Weasel. Taichu. Sasuke and Naruto replied at the same time. Now gear up, you have 30 minutes to meet me at the North Gate, we have a mission. By the way, don't get used to 30 minutes, when you are called you will be expected to be in front of Hokage-sama within 15 minutes, no matter what you are doing. Hi, Taichu. With Hinata. Try again. Anko said as she watched Hinata attack the training dummy in front of her. Senijashu Hinata said as she stretched out her left hand towards the dummy, sending 2 snakes out towards it. The snakes wrapped around the dummy's torso and jerked it back towards Hinata before disappearing as she said, Haki Sanjuni show. 8 trigrams 32 palms, once the dummy reached her range. She then let loose a series of 32 chakra-laced palm strikes, tearing it apart. Good job Hinata. Now I want you to spar against me. Anko said as she dropped into her ready stance. Hinata quickly charged towards Anko and lashed out with several strikes, all of which Anko managed to dodge. Anko then retaliated with a kick to Hinata's ribsage, knocking her back several feet before she began doing hand seals. Kaiten. End in flame bullet, she hollered out as she shot a large fireball towards Hinata. Hinata quickly did her own hand seals and shouted Suiten. Sujin Heki before spitting out a wall of water to block the fireball. The attacks collided and produced steam that covered the field briefly. Anko quickly got into her defensive stance, ready for anything. Hinata, able to somewhat see through the steam, did a set of hand seals and whispered Suiten. Sugaden water fang bullet as the water droplets in the air formed into several drill-shaped balls of water and launched at Anko. Anko was barely able to dodge the attack on instinct alone before she stuck out her arms and unleashed several snakes towards Hinata. Hinata dodged a couple of the snakes and killed a couple of them with palm strikes, but there were too many and she was caught by them. She struggled to break free but was unable as she was cut several times by a wave of kunai that Anko threw at her. Damn it, Hinata cursed as Anko let the snakes loose and she fell to the ground. Don't get so upset, you're still a few years too young to beat me, but you're doing good. Yehina-chan, you have progressed well these last 2 years. I think you'll be almost Jonin level by the time you graduate from the academy. Kurenai added in as she patted Hinata on the shoulder. Thank you Nai-chan. Hinata replied with a smile. I'm glad to see you made it quickly. This mission will be a simple one, kind of like a rite of passage to all new Anbu. We are to go north towards our borders, and you too will destroy a bandit camp. Anbu do not usually do these types of missions, but as I said, it is just to get you accustomed to the way we operate. Itachi said as Naruto and Sasuke appeared beside him. Both boys simply nodded, and the group took off out the gate without another word, Naruto out front, Sasuke in the back, Yugao in the left, and Itachi to the right. After about 2 hours of traveling through the trees, Naruto held up a hand, and the group stopped on a tree branch. Naruto began signing words to the rest of the group's small camp. 12 mercenaries, 1. I'll take the leader, Sasuke can get bandits. Naruto noticed Sasuke give a nod over his shoulder, and the two then disappeared from the tree in a blur. Sasuke appeared right behind a group of the bandits that were sitting at a campfire eating. They never even noticed he was there until 3 of them fell to the ground without their heads. The other 3 in the group leapt up with crude rusty swords and went to attack him, but he simply ducked and dodged the blows before all 3 of them fell as well. Sasuke sheathed his tanto and blurred from existence once more to the tent where he could sense the rest of the men sleeping. He looked up and saw Naruto appear outside of the leader's tent and give him a small nod. He then went through hand seals faster than the eye could follow and blew out a stream of fire over the sleeping men, killing them instantly. The leader of the camp heard the commotion outside and quickly ran out to see the fire. He was about to charge at Sasuke when he felt someone grab him from behind and felt the cold point of a blade at his neck. I'm sorry, don't kill me. I'll give you anything, money, drugs, pow. Pathetic. Said Naruto as the man's head rolled to the ground. With a quick look to Sasuke, the pair then leapt to opposite ends of the base and did hand seals in perfect sync before blowing out a massive dragon made of flames. The 2 dragons ravished the camp and left nothing but ash in their wake as Delta Squad leapt away towards the village. Good job, both of you. Itachi said as they leapt from tree to tree. The next morning, 4 figures clad in black and gray stood in a circle inside a fairly large clearing with walls built around it, Anbu Training Ground 4. On the walls in various places were large panels, each divided into 4 sections, with the numbers 1 to 4 on them. This exercise will teach you to fight while paying attention to your surroundings. It will also teach you to fight with various partners. Finally, it will teach you that someone who is a comrade now may not be in the next minute. Those panels on the wall will show 4 numbers lit up in various colors. When 2 or more numbers are the same color, that will be your team. Be sure to pay attention, because it will randomly change. I am 1, Nico is 2, Kitsune is 3, and Taka is 4. Begin. Itachi said as the panels lit up. 1 and 3 were blue, while 2 were red, and 4 were yellow. Itachi and Naruto quickly shared a look and leapt apart. Naruto appeared in front of Yugao and instinctively blocked a strike from her sword with his own. Naruto and Yugao then engaged in a battle for a moment before Naruto broke away and leapt back to gain some distance while doing hand seals. Futon. To top a great breakthrough, Naruto said as he blew out a large wave of wind. Yugao quickly leapt up and over the blade of wind and charged towards Naruto before splitting into 3 copies of herself. The 2 clones blurred from existence as Yugao jumped into the air. The three appeared beside Naruto with impressive speed and slashed into him as Yugao said, Mikazuki no Mai dance of the crescent moon. Itachi appeared in front of Sasuke already doing hand seals and said Kaiten. Gakaku no Jutsu. As he blew out a large fireball. Sasuke barely had time to jump to the side and avoid the fireball before Itachi appeared beside him and kicked him in the face, launching him up into the sky. Just as Sasuke reached the peak and began to fall, Itachi was there again and dropped an axe kick onto his stomach, shooting him back towards the ground. Just as he was about to slam into the ground, Itachi appeared again and punched him in the chest, only for Sasuke to disappear in a puff of smoke. Itachi quickly ducked to the side as a wave of lightning passed over him. Raiden. Raifu. Lightning breeze, Sasuke said as the attack dispersed. It was then that the numbers changed again, 1 blue, 2, 3, and 4 yellow. Naruto stopped mid-strike on Yugao, and the two blurred away to face down Itachi. Yugao quickly went in attacking with her katana, while Naruto and Sasuke both sat back waiting for an opening. Finally Yugao left an opening, and Itachi wasted no time in kicking her in the face, rocketing her back away from him. As soon as she was gone he heard Naruto and Sasuke speak simultaneously. Fuden. Rinkuden drilling air bullet Raiden. Raifu. Sasuke shot out his wave of lightning, and it quickly wrapped around Naruto's air bullets, making the attacks faster and larger. Raifu no Dangan lightning breeze bullets, Naruto said as he fired off several of the lightning bullets. Itachi dodged most of them with ease, only taking one good hit. He then began doing hand seals and said Kaiten. Hasenka Bofu no Jutsu. Phoenix. Flower storm as he spat out hundreds of balls of fire that swirled and danced about the field, making it impossible to dodge them all. Naruto and Sasuke were both burned in several places before the attack ended. Once more the two started doing hand seals and simultaneously said Kaiten. Karyu, end in fire. Dragon missile, before they each spat out a large stream of fire that morphed into the shape of a dragon. Itachi quickly began to run, jump, and dodge the large creatures as they chased him around the field. He eventually managed to maneuver himself beside Sasuke and with a violent kick, knocked him across the field towards Naruto. Naruto saw him coming and had to dispel his attack and jump to avoid him, but before he could hit the ground Itachi was on him. Itachi placed a foot into his solar plexus and drove him into the ground fiercely, creating a large crater. Once they touched the ground Itachi leapt into the air with practiced ease, avoiding a swipe from Sasuke's tanto, before flipping back to the ground and smashing Sasuke in the back of the head with an elbow, knocking him unconscious. Itachi then went around the field and gathered his three partners up and waited for them to regain consciousness. After only a few minutes Yugao woke and then began to heal the other two. After several minutes the whole team was conscious once again and they all went their separate ways. Naruto walked through the door of his house to the smell of delicious food cooking. Damn, I will never get over that. This must be what it's like to have a real family. He thought with a small smile. Naruto-kun, you're just in time, the voice of Hinata came. Naruto Shunshin ended from the door of the house straight into the kitchen, with tears streaming down his face. That smells great, Hinata-chan, what is it? Raymond. It's your celebration dinner for making Anbu. Hinata said with a smile. Since we didn't get to do it yesterday. Naruto then wrapped Hinata in a hug, which made her blush, and yelled, thanks Hinata-chan. You're the best friend ever. You earned it, Naruto-kun. It's not every day that someone makes Anbu a 10 years old. Naruto awoke to a familiar sensation of chakra tingling from the Anbu tattoo on his left shoulder. He rolled over and looked at his alarm clock and let out a groan. Ugh. What could be happening at 3 in the morning, he muttered to himself, though he knew after his few months in Anbu that a lot happened at weird hours. He quickly slid out of bed and channeled some chakra to the seal tattoo that was on his forearm, making his Anbu uniform and mask appear in a poof of smoke. In just a few minutes he was dressed and walked out the door of his house to appear in the Hokage's office. In short order the rest of his team was standing beside him before Hiruzen spoke. I have called you here tonight because the Yamanaka clan heiress has been kidnapped. We are unsure of who the assailants are at the moment, but Delta Squad is our best team, so I trust you to complete the job. Hi, Hokage-sama, it shall be done. Itachi said before him and his team sunshine away. They reappeared at the Yamanaka compound where they were directed north by the Anbu patrol that was investigating the scene. Once more they were gone in a blur. After just a few minutes they picked up on the trail of the group. Shortly after, Itachi signaled for the group to stop. They all noticed that there was a group of 6 people in the clearing in front of them with Ino bound by wire, and they could sense 2 more further ahead. Nico takes the 2 furthest north. I'll get the 3 furthest west. Taka takes the 2 in the center. Kitsune takes out the 1 by the girl and gets her out. Itachi said to them in sign language. They all nodded, and then with a flick of the wrist by Itachi, they were gone. Yugao landed down behind the 2 men who had broken apart from the group with her katana drawn and in a battle stance. The men sensed her land and instantly turned and dropped into their own before one of them spoke up. To what do we owe the pleasure, Konoha-sen, the man said sarcastically. Yuga responded by dashing towards them in a blur. The second man jumped back out of the way while the first pulled a kunai and went to deflect her strike. She swung down and the sound of metal hitting metal was heard only briefly before the man fell to the ground dead and she said, Mikazuki no mai. She then stuck her sword in the ground and did a set of hand seals before leaping towards the second man. He dropped to a defensive stance with a kunai but was shocked when she seemingly disappeared. He went to make a ram seal to dispel it but found that he couldn't move his hands. What the hell is this, he said out loud as he noticed that he was trapped in a tree. Meijin. Jubaku Satsu demonic illusion. Tree binding death, Yugao said as she slid her upper body out of the trunk of the tree and slit the man's throat with her katana. Itachi leapt down into the clearing right between the three men that were clustered around their campfire. Before they even knew he was there, one of them slumped to the ground dead with a kunai sticking out of the base of his skull. The other two quickly flung several shuriken and kunai at him, but as soon as they hit he dissolved in a flock of ravens and reformed right behind them. Itachi quickly buried another kunai into one of the men before the other turned around and swung at him with a kunai of his own. Once again Itachi disappeared in a flock of ravens and reappeared behind the man with a kunai buried in his brain. Sasuke appeared between the two men that were standing and talking away from the main group and went to stab one of them with a kunai but was blocked. The man who blocked his kunai threw a punch at Sasuke's face while the other man tried to sweep his feet. In a show of athleticism, Sasuke jumped and rolled his body to the side, avoiding both attacks before he launched his elbow up and into the jaw of the man who punched him. The force of the blow made the man's head snap back and he stuttered backwards just a bit, but it was all Sasuke needed as he grabbed the man and twisted his body around, putting it in the path of the kunai in the other man's hands. The kunai buried itself to the hilt in the man's chest as Sasuke pushed him off and appeared beside the second man and ended his life with a kunai to the throat. Naruto dropped from the trees beside the man who was holding Ino. Don't worry honey, I won't be too rough as long as you help me out, he heard the man say. It made his blood boil that the man was thinking of harassing a 10-year-old girl. Let her go, you idiot, Naruto growled out to the man. And if I don't? Like a kid like you could hurt me, the man replied with a smirk. It was then that the rest of Naruto's team dropped from the trees and killed his men. His eyes went wide briefly as he realized that he was going to die. He quickly grabbed Ino and held a kunai to her throat. Move and I kill the girl, he said in a last-ditch effort to live. Naruto smirked behind his mask a bit before there was a poof of smoke and the man was now holding a clone while Naruto held the bound Ino. Naruto's eyes then changed to the form of his Mangekyo as he made eye contact with the man. 2 seconds later the man fell to the ground with his eyes glazed over after being skinned alive for 3 days straight in the Tsukuyomi world. Naruto then proceeded to seal the man into a scroll and free Ino before he picked her up bridal style and the group departed from the clearing. A few minutes after they left out, Ino started to stir. What happened? Let me down you jerk, she yelled as she started to beat Naruto. Ino-san, said Naruto before the screams drowned it out. Ino-san, would you? Ino, calm down. You kidnapped me and you expect me to calm down. Actually, he rescued you. Sasuke added. Is that Sasuke-kun? Shit. Sasuke thought as he looked to Itachi for help. Itachi simply nodded his head and turned his eyes to Naruto too. Yeah, it's me. Naruto is the one who saved you, though. Sasuke said as he removed his mask. Naruto? The dead son of Naruto. Naruto then pulled his mask off and let Ino see him while she was still in his arms. No, it's the amazing Naruto, Ino thought with a small blush. No, Kitsune Naruto, Anbu operative, though no one else is to know that. Naruto said while she made googly eyes back and forth between him and Sasuke. You guys are in Anbu? Wow, we are the same age, and Ino said. Yes, but like I said, that is a secret. Naruto said. We only revealed ourselves because you recognized my voice. Sasuke added. Oh, I'm sorry about that. No worries. Just don't tell anyone, and I mean anyone else. Not even Sakura. How did? We have to know all the shinobi and shinobi to be in this village. Naruto said. Ino picked this random moment to notice that she was still being carried by Naruto and blushed rather heavily. Naruto-kun, could you put me down? Damn, did I just call him Naruto-kun? Sure thing. Said Naruto as he lowered her to her feet. She just called me Naruto-kun, just great. He thought with a mental scowl. Things went pretty silent after that. Naruto and Sasuke put their masks back on and dropped Ino off at her father's house before going to the Hokage's office to report. Hello Hokage-sama. Said Itachi as he and his team appeared in front of Hiruzen's desk. Delta Squad, I'm sure you have a good report, yes? Yes. The threat has been eliminated. They appeared to be just a group of missing nin. We brought back the leader for interrogation. And the girl? She has been returned and possibly betrothed. Said Itachi with a chuckle. How so? She figured out the identity of two of our operatives and I think they fell for Kitsune. At that, the aged Hokage couldn't help but laugh. Naruto-kun sure does have a way with people. Naruto couldn't help but blush a bit, which was seen by everyone since they had removed their masks to report. It's okay Naruto-kun, you are a nice young man, it will happen. Your father had this problem too. Hiruzen said. HMPH. Naruto pouted. Anyways, thank you all for resolving this issue so quickly, you may be dismissed. Hiruzen said as everyone but Naruto left via Shunshin. Good night loverboy. Hiruzen said with a chuckle. Naruto released a low growl, making Hiruzen break into full-blown laughter. After just a second, Naruto actually let out a little smile himself. Don't worry Naruto-kun, all good shinobi have to deal with it. Yeah I guess, but I already kinda like Hinata-chan, so the others are wasting their time. Naruto declared. Actually, since you are the last of both the Uzumaki and Namikas, you fall under the Clan Restoration Act. Hiruzen said in a teasing tone. Clan Restoration Act? It means that if a man is the last of his clan, then he may take more than one wife. Hiruzen replied, still teasing. But Naruto started before losing consciousness because of the blood shooting from his nose. Well Naruto-kun is a closet perv. Who woulda thought? Hiruzen said to himself as he picked Naruto up and took him home to bed. Naruto awoke to the smell of breakfast cooking and turned to his alarm clock to see that it was 8 o'clock. Glad I don't have anything to do today. Said Naruto to himself as he rolled out of bed and headed downstairs in nothing but his sleeping shorts. Good morning Hinata-chan. He said with a smile once he got downstairs. Morning and Hinata started but fainted when she saw that Naruto was shirtless. Hinata-chan. Are you okay? I'm fine, Naruto-kun. She said once she regained consciousness. I just remembered something Nai-chan told me. Oh okay then. Naruto said with an oblivious smile as he helped her up. So what are you doing today? Naruto-kun. Hinata asked as they sat down for breakfast. I'm off today so I think I'm gonna try to finish the Rasengan today. What are you doing after school? I'm going to train with Nai-chan and Ko-chan for a while. That's good Naruto said with a genuine smile. You're gonna be good by the time you graduate. Yay, I'm gonna show my clan that they were wrong for kicking me out. Hinata declared as she walked out the door. You really will wait, clan ah. Clan Restoration Act. Jiji Naruto shouted as the nosebleed set in once more. After the nosebleed stopped Naruto cleaned himself up. He went out to Hiruzen's office. Hello Naruto-kun, good morning. Hiruzen said as Naruto walked in. I hate you Jiji. Naruto replied with a mocking tone. And why is that? Did you mean what you said about the Clan Restoration Act? Oh ho ho, has Naruto-kun decided to have several wives? Hiruzen said with a lecherous grin. No. God, this village was made by perverts. Naruto replied with a blush on his face. It's okay Naruto-kun, we all have a little pervert in us. And the craw is legitimate, it is made to be sure that our powerful clans don't die out. But I don't have a Kekkei Genkai Jiji. Well you do have the Sharingan, we don't know if the implanted eye spliced into your DNA is enough to reproduce or not. You also have the Rasengan and the Haraishin, two of the most powerful techniques in Konoha. Well, HMPH. Don't worry, no one will force you into anything, you should only marry out of love. The craw just means you can love more than one girl, not that you have two. Oh okay, then that'll be fine. I don't think I'll be able to love but one girl though. We'll see in time. Hiruzen replied, still with his lecherous grin. I'm going to the store to get some rubber balls to practice with, do you need anything Jiji? No but thank you, Naruto-kun. Hiruzen said as Naruto left through the door. As soon as Naruto was out the door a new voice came through the window. Hey old man, how's it going? Hello Jiraiya-kun, what brings you around? Just dropping in. I see that he is doing well for himself. Yes he is, he's already an Anbu and quite skilled, though it wouldn't hurt for you to stick around for a while and help him out. He just went into town to buy supplies to learn the Rasengan. I may swing that, it would be almost impossible to learn the Rasengan on my own. Actually, he is already on the final step now. He is quite the shinobi, and a fast learner too. I'm glad Itachi took him in and trained him a couple of years ago. Itachi Uchiha. Yes, Itachi trained Naruto-kun and Sasuke for the last 2 years. I see. I suppose I can stick around and help them a bit. Jiraiya and Hiruzen sat there catching up for a while before Naruto came back in the door with a sealing scroll in hand and an unlit cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Hey Jiji. Who's your guest? Naruto said as he used a low power fire to light his cigarette. When did you start smoking? Naruto-kun. Hiruzen asked. I figured hey why not since I can't get cancer because of the fox. Ah good point I suppose. Anyways, this is Jiraiya, my old student. Nice to meet you Jiraiya-sama. Naruto said with a small bow. Nice to meet you too. I'm glad at least one person shows me a bit of respect. Just because he doesn't know you yet. Hiruzen muttered under his breath, though Jiraiya and Naruto both heard it. I hate you sensei. Jiraiya said with a sweat drop. Anyways, how would you like some help with the Rasengan? It would be an honor to learn under one of the Sannin. Naruto said as he dropped his cigarette in Hiruzen's ashtray. I could get used to this kind of respect, Jiraiya said with a large smile. I wouldn't if I were you. Hiruzen muttered again, causing Jiraiya to face a fault. Okay Gaki, meet me at the training ground in 15 minutes, said Jiraiya after he got up. How about we just go to my house and use the training field there? No can do. I gotta be close to the hot springs so I can do research for my books. Books? Weird book, the best book in the elementary nations. Naruto just sweat dropped and walked out the door on his way to the training ground. So Gaki, how good are you? Jiraiya asked as he stood across from Naruto. Well, I guess you know I'm Anbu, so that says a lot, doesn't it? It means that you are good, but not Sannin good. Spar with me so that I know your abilities. Naruto dropped to his battle stance and activated his Sharingan as Jiraiya stood still. Aren't you going to get in a stance? Naruto asked. Nah, you won't touch me anyways, there's no need. I'll make you regret that. Gaki, you're 100 years too young to lay a finger on me. Go whenever you're ready. As soon as he said go, Naruto blurred from existence and reappeared with his foot against Jiraiya's forearm, inches from his head. Gotta do better than that Gaki. Jiraiya said as he yawned. Damn, he's good. I guess he's not a Sannin for nothing. Naruto thought as he tried to form a plan in his head while Jiraiya just stood there. Naruto then pulled out several shuriken and threw them towards Jiraiya, who dodged them without effort. Naruto then let out a growl and went through a set of hand seals and yelled out Kaiten. Kakakyu no Jutsu as he blew out a large ball of fire towards Jiraiya. Jiraiya simply smirked a bit and stomped his foot to the ground, making a large wall of earth shoot up and block the attack. Damn you, Naruto said as he launched another flurry of shuriken at Jiraiya. Jiraiya dodged these as well, before having to jump back quickly to avoid a kick from Naruto. Naruto then went through some hand seals and called out Fuden. Rinkuuden before he started firing several air bullets at Jiraiya. Jiraiya dodged the attacks before going through a set of hand seals and called out Kaiten. Endon as a large stream of fire left his mouth. Unknown to him though, Naruto copied the seals and used them at the same time. The two massive fireballs collided and the resulting explosion threw Naruto back several feet while Jiraiya stood firm. Naruto jumped up and sped back towards Jiraiya in a blur before launching a kick at Jiraiya's head, which he just ducked under. He followed the kick with a backwards elbow that Jiraiya blocked with ease before punching Naruto in the ribs with an audible crack and shooting him away. Okay Gaki, like I said, you're good, but not Sannin good. You're learning Rasengan, right? Yay, my dad left me a scroll with it, I'm on the third step already. Okay, show me. Jiraiya said as Naruto pulled out his sealing scroll and unsealed a rubber ball. He started spinning his chakra inside the ball, and after a second the ball deformed and then went flat. Not bad for learning on your own, you've almost got it, but let me give you a tip. Jiraiya said as he pulled a marker from somewhere and drew a Konoha symbol on Naruto's palm. What's that for? Naruto asked. The focus point. The point of the Rasengan is to focus and compress a massive amount of chakra into a small point. Concentrate on the swirl, and it'll help. I'm going to research, find me if you finish that. Jiraiya said before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Naruto then tried once again, focusing on the leaf this time, and made it a lot longer before the ball popped. Hey, it actually worked, Naruto said with a smile as 100 shadow clones appeared in the clearing around him and started practicing. It only took an hour with the clones before Naruto had it figured out, so he set off to find Jiraiya, which didn't take long. He found him sitting on a tree branch overlooking the female section of the hot springs, scribbling in a notebook and giggling. Herb. Naruto thought as he leapt up to the tree beside Jiraiya. Jiraiya was so preoccupied with his research that he didn't even notice Naruto was there. Hey Iro-sensei, I'm done. SHHH, you let me know we're here, Jiraiya whispered. My bad. I'm done with the third step, what now? Give me a minute here, sit back and enjoy the sights. You've got 5 minutes. Naruto said as he looked out at the ladies. This ain't so bad. Naruto thought as his face turned red. Damn, he's rubbing off on me. Like what you see, Jiraiya said to Naruto, who was now lost in the visage of the hot spring. Yeah, aha. Naruto mindlessly bumbled out. Hey Gaki, we're supposed to be training. Jiraiya said with a chuckle. MHM. So much passion at such a young age. It does my heart good. SHHH. Oh sorry. Wait, we have things to do, come on, said Jiraiya as he grabbed Naruto and leapt off of the tree. I never thought I would be the one to drag someone away from the hot springs. Jiraiya thought with another chuckle. Now then, Hirogaki, show me the final step. Jiraiya said once they had both settled down. Naruto grabbed a rubber ball out of his scroll and held it in his palm for a moment, nothing happened. Good job. All that's left is to do it with no balloon. Jiraiya said as he held his hand up and formed a Rasengan. Naruto then concentrated on the leaf on his palm and started to spin the chakra around and around before it finally turned into a perfect sphere and stabilized. Good job, Irogaki. Hey, don't call me that. You called me Iro-sensei. Because it's true. Yay, and you're an Irogaki. I am not. Kid, I had to drag you away from the hot springs. I had to drag you away. Okay, maybe I am a perv. Naruto said with a sweat drop. Anyways, drive the attack into that tree over there. Jiraiya said as he nodded towards a tree. Naruto nodded and blurred away, driving his palm into the nearest tree. The sphere of chakra in his hand drilled itself about halfway into the tree in a perfect circle before the tree exploded into splinters. Sweet, Naruto yelled. Now, onto the next thing. Do you have a summoning contract already? Nope. Well, how would you like to sign the Toad contract? It would be an honor. Okay then, Jiraiya said as he bit his thumb and did some hand seals, then slammed his hand down. Sign here in your blood and then put your handprints. Naruto did as told and cut his hand before signing his name to the contract. It glowed green for just a moment and then the glow died away before the scroll rolled back up and disappeared. Now then, did you copy the hand seals? Jiraiya asked, and Naruto nodded his head. Okay, just prick your thumb and do the seals, then slam your hand to the ground. Naruto bit his thumb and did the required seals before slamming his hand down with a cloud of smoke. Once the smoke cleared, a small red toad was there. Howdy, Jiraiya, what's up? Hey Gamakichi, this is Naruto, the new summoner. Replied Jiraiya. The new guy, Gamakichi said as he hopped around Naruto to get a better look. I think I like him, Gamakichi said after a moment as he leapt onto Naruto's head. Has he met Dad yet? Nope, you're his first summon. Well, I'm honored. What's your name, by the way? Naruto Namikaze. I'm Gamakichi, nice to meet you. Gamakichi said as he stuck his tongue out next to Naruto's hand. Naruto reluctantly grabbed his tongue and shook it. Nice to meet you too. Alright, I hate to interrupt such an emotional scene, but you still need to summon Bunta and meet him. Who's Bunta? I'm a Bunta, he is the Toad boss, and my dad. Okay, how do I decide which Toad I summon? Naruto asked. You learn over time, each Toad requires a different amount of chakra. For Bunta, use as much as you can spare. Jiraiya answered, not knowing he just made a big mistake. Naruto bit his thumb and did the hand seals before slamming his hand down on the ground. Kuchiyus no Jutsu, he said before he felt himself rocketing into the sky atop the massive red toad with a tanto on his back and a pipe hanging from his mouth. Holy shit, Gaki, Jiraiya exclaimed as he looked off of Bunta's head. Next to Bunta, there were another two equally toads, a large blue-green toad with a white belly and twin katanas on its back, and a large magenta toad with a shield on his back and in his hands. Why did you summon us? Jiraiya, Bunta bellowed out. Actually, Bunta, it wasn't me. Jiraiya answered, still in awe at the fact that Naruto summoned the three biggest battle toads. Don't bullshit me, Jiraiya. Who else could have done it? It was me, Bunta-sama, Naruto said, earning a laugh from the massive toad. But joke, Jiraiya, this is one of the best in ages. But why did you bring Gamaken and Gamahiro as well? It really was Naruto, Dad. He is the new summoner. Gamakichi said. Really now? Well then, why should we allow you to summon us? Bunta asked. Bunta, this is Minato's son. He is a fine shinobi already at the age of 10. Jiraiya said. I would appreciate your permission to be your summoner, Bunta-sama. Naruto added in. I like you, kid. I tell you what, hold on to me for just 30 minutes, and I will allow it. At this point, Jiraiya grabbed Gamakichi and leapt over to Gamaken's head quickly. What do you Naruto started to say before Bunta leapt away in a blur. Do you think he'll make it? I sure wouldn't, because I'm too clumsy. Gamaken said as Bunta shot off. Yeah, he's strong, he'll be fine. Jiraiya replied. After 30 minutes of the roughest ride he ever experienced, Bunta and Naruto touched back down in the field beside the others, where Naruto promptly jumped off of Bunta and puked. Well done, Gaki, you may summon us anytime you need. Just be prepared to have drinks with us if we are not really needed. Thank you, Bunta-sama. I'll keep that in mind. Naruto said as the three large toads dispelled themselves. Well, that went quicker than I expected. What is your elemental affinity? Gyuten, Kaiten, and Raiten. Naruto replied, making Jiraiya fault. Damn, 3 affinities. Impressive, though I don't have much along those lines to teach you that I bet you don't already know. I know. I'll teach you my Toten Jutsu transparent escape technique, since you're an aspiring pervert. I'm not a pervert, pouted Naruto. You might as well admit it's Irogaki. Said Jiraiya with a chuckle, before he began to teach Naruto the Toten Jutsu. Hiruzen sat at his desk reading his favorite orange book, concealed by a mission report from earlier in the day. All of a sudden, the door to his office swung open. Hiruzen looked up from his book ready to cuss at whoever entered without knocking, but found no one there. Damn cheap faulty hinges interrupting my reading. Muttered Hiruzen as he got up to close the door. As soon as he reached the door and shut it, a voice echoed out across the room, "Please give it to me, Arashi. I long for you to fill me." The voice then changed and spoke again. "Of course, Akina, I will gladly fill your voids. Say my name." "Who's there?" Hiruzen shouted as he dropped to his battle stance. "Oh Arashi, it feels so good. Harder. Harder. Bathe me in your fluid," said the first voice again. "Ugh Akina, yes. I'm almost there," said the second. "I'm out now," Hiruzen shouted again. "Oh god, yes. Arashi," screamed Akina in ecstasy as the man filled her with his fluids. Said the first voice. "Oh Akina, that was wonderful," said Arashi as he let the juices flow down her thighs. "You better reveal yourself," shouted Hiruzen once again. "Are you sure you want us to do that?" whispered a new voice right beside his ear. He jumped back immediately as Jiraiya and Naruto both shimmered into existence, rolling around on the floor laughing. "God damn it, Jiraiya, you turned Naruto-kun into a pervert," Hiruzen cursed with a large blush on his face. "He was just reading from your book, Sensei," said Jiraiya as he reined in his laughter. "Yes, but you wrote it. And he spent all day with you," replied Hiruzen. Naruto finally stopped laughing and fired up another cigarette and said, "You know it was funny, Chichi." "No, it almost caused me a damn heart attack," Hiruzen yelled out. "Sorry, it's just too easy to beat a perv." Naruto said with a smile as he did a couple of hand seals and disappeared again before the door to his house appeared, opened, closed, and disappeared again. A few minutes later, even though they were in a pocket dimension, Hiruzen and Jiraiya heard Hinata cursing Naruto. A few minutes after that, the doorway opened back up and Naruto came limping out with a black eye and a busted lip, carrying a pillow and blanket in one arm, the other hanging limp at his side. "Hey Gigi, can I sleep on the couch tonight?" Naruto mumbled out. Hiruzen and Jiraiya both hit the floor laughing at his misfortune for a minute before Hiruzen got it under control. "Sure, Naruto-kun. I just hope you learned your lesson about using Jiraiya-kun, stupid. Of course I didn't know who Gigi was," Naruto said with as much of a smile as his broken face could form. "You are your father's child, Naruto-kun," Hiruzen said as she shook his head and Jiraiya smirked. With Naruto a few minutes earlier. Naruto silently made his way through the house until he found Hinata sitting in the living room looking over a scroll on techniques. He carefully stalked over to behind the couch and quickly stuck his hands in front of her face. Hinata screamed out before she turned and struck one of Naruto's arms with a palm. "Oh Hinata-chan, it's me," Naruto screamed as the totem faded away. "Naruto-kun, you scared me," yelled Hinata before she proceeded to beat the shit out of him. "Hinata-chan, I'm sorry." The crumpled body in the floor that used to be Naruto whimpered out. "HMPH. Please. Leave." "But." Now Hinata shouted as Naruto drug himself away. The next morning. Naruto awoke on the couch in Hiruzen's office with an aching back, but all the other wounds had already healed. "I can't believe she kicked me out of my own house." Naruto pouted to himself as he popped his back. "You two act like a married couple already, Naruto-kun." Hiruzen chuckled. Naruto just growled before disappearing into his home to shower and get ready for the day. When Naruto stepped in, he could smell breakfast cooking, so he made his way to the kitchen. "Hey Hinata-chan," Naruto said timidly, half hidden behind the doorframe so he could avoid flying utensils. "Good morning, Naruto-kun." Hinata replied in a sing-song voice, making Naruto worry even more. "Morning," he replied as he slowly walked to the table and sat down. "Did you sleep okay?" Hinata asked in the same sickly sweet voice. "Not really. Are you still mad about last night?" "No, of course not. I could never stay mad at you," Hinata said, but the evil glint in her eye said differently. "Good then." Naruto said as Hinata brought their breakfast to the table. They finished eating while making small talk. Once they were done, Naruto said, "Wow Hinata-chan, that was delicious. What was in me?" The evil glint in Hinata's eyes then grew to a sadistic expression over her whole face. "Oh, nothing really, just bacon and pancakes with chocolate chips and laxative." "What did you say?" Naruto said as his stomach churned and his face turned green. "I think you heard me." Hinata replied in the same tone she had used all morning. "Why?" Naruto screamed as he shunshed to the toilet, where he would remain for quite a while. "I win," yelled Hinata with a big smile as she left the house. Several miserable hours later. Naruto finally stumbled away from the toilet with a newfound respect for the saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." He took a quick shower and left his house, headed for Ichiraku's to replenish the nutrients that were oh so forcefully expelled from his body throughout the course of the day. He decided upon walking instead of shunshing due to the fact that he still felt a bit queasy. A few minutes into his walk, Naruto blindly turned a corner and bumped into someone, knocking several grocery bags out of her hands. Naruto quickly apologized and went to help her pick her things up when he noticed who it was, or rather she noticed who he was. "Naruto-kun. Hi, how are you? Sorry about bumping into you, I wasn't paying attention to where I was going." Ino said with an embarrassed smile. "Damn, I can't believe I just ran into him, he must hate me now." No worries Ino, I wasn't paying attention either, and I'm sorry for making you drop your things. Naruto replied. Ino's mind quickly went into overdrive, forming a devious plan once she realized that he wasn't mad at her. Well Naruto-kun, she said with a seductive smile, dragging out the kun for longer than normal. If you really are sorry, you could take me for lunch after I drop these groceries off at home. Naruto, ever noble and a bit unknowing, decided that since he was going to eat anyways, it wouldn't be a problem if she came along. Sure Ino, that would be fine by me. Naruto said, unknowingly accepting her offer of a date. Cool. Help me carry these home, and then we can go, Ino half yelled, shoving several bags into Naruto's arms before grabbing his arm and running off with a large smile. Several minutes later, they found the pair at the Yamanaka flower shop, standing in front of a large blonde-haired man with a spiky flat top and a ponytail flowing down his back. Hey daddy, I'm back, Ino yelled as she dragged Naruto to the counter where her father stood. Hey sweetie, who's your life partner? Inoichi asked, stressing the life partner before letting out a chuckle. This is Naruto, he's not my life partner. Yet. Ino replied with a devious smile. Well, nice to meet you Naruto-san. Likewise Inoichi-sama. Naruto replied as Ino ran off to get ready for her date. That voice is familiar, he's far too young to be him though. Inoichi thought as reached out a hand to confirm his suspicions. Naruto, seeing the question in Inoichi's eyes and knowing that he was once an Anbu himself, reached out and accepted Inoichi's handshake. Both parties shook hands like any normal greeting, or so it appeared. Once the two grasped each other's hands, they nondescript rubbed their pinky finger along the bottom of the other's hand. I'll be damned, it is him. Thank you. Inoichi said simply, but he knew Naruto would get the meaning. Naruto was about to reply when he noticed Ino walk around the corner and shoot the pair a questioning look. Oh Ino, I was just thanking Naruto here for helping you bring home the groceries. Inoichi said, quickly trying to deter his daughter from crying. That didn't sound like a thank you for helping with chores. Thank you. Ino replied. And why do you say that? Inoichi asked, now getting nervous. Because it sounded like a thanks for saving my daughter. Thank you. Well Inoichi started but was cut off by Naruto. She knows already. We were forced to reveal ourselves on the mission. I see Ino, I trust that you will tell no one of this, right? Yes daddy, Naruto-kun already swore me to secrecy. Naruto-kun seems my little girl has the hots for him. At least she picked a good one. Inoichi thought with a smirk, but before he could tease them anymore, Ino interrupted. Bye daddy, Naruto-kun is taking me on a date, she shouted as she grabbed his hand and dragged him out the door. Date, Naruto said sheepishly. Yay silly, what did you think this was? I don't know. Naruto said, causing Ino to sweat drop. Soon enough, the couple were at a barbecue joint near Ino's house. As they went inside, one of the waiters stopped them. We don't serve your kind here. Would you like me to get him away from you, miss? The man sneered. What the hell is that about? Ino wondered as the man made to grab Naruto. Excuse me. What is your problem? We don't allow filth such as this in our establishment. What is he ever? Don't worry about it, Ino, let's just go somewhere else. Naruto cut in. No. That's not right that he would turn you away for nothing. It's fine. It is not for nothing. This child is at this point, Ino suddenly disappeared to find herself in Naruto's arms, several blocks away from the restaurant. She blushed lightly at being held by him again before he sat her down. Thanks for sticking up for me, Ino-chan, but like I said, it's fine. We can go somewhere else. I have a feeling that his restaurant will be out of business soon anyways. Naruto said, not noticing the chan he placed at the end of Ino's name. Back at the barbecue place. It is not for nothing. This child is the waiter said before there was a poof of smoke. Once the smoke cleared, Ino was gone and the man's head was on the ground, with Kitsune standing above the body. Mentioning the Kyuubi is punishable by death, and your sentence was carried out as such. Kitsune said to the dead man before turning to the Anbu that now stood behind him. Please take him to the morgue, he violated the 9th law. He said before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Naruto frowned at receiving the memories of his clone. He really hated having to kill people, but laws were laws, and no one was going to tread on him anymore. Ino, noticing his frown, spoke up. What's wrong with Naruto-kun? It's nothing. Is Ichiraku okay with you? I'd like to avoid any more conflicts if possible. I'm sure, I like Raymond. Ino said with a half-hearted smile. She couldn't help but wonder why the man treated Naruto so badly. She filed it away as a thought for another time. She wouldn't let anything ruin her date with Naruto-kun. Naruto once more stood in front of Tora, the Anbu commander, in the dimly lit chamber of the Anbu auditorium, this time wearing his full uniform, minus the mask. At Tora's other side, Itachi was standing in the same garb as Naruto, but he was wearing his mask. Behind them slightly was Hiruzen, with a small smile on his face. Naruto knew why he was here, but he was still nervous about it. Hello everyone, I'm pleased to welcome you all here today for a passing of the torch ceremony, Tora said with more emotion than his voice usually portrayed. The day is a historical day for us all, as it gives birth to a new legend. As you all know, Weasel here was the youngest person to ever become a captain amongst our ranks at the age of 13. Tora said, and then paused for a moment. Now, after 6 years of exceptional service, I am sad to say that Weasel will be retiring. At the same time, I am happy to say that Weasel's last act will be to promote Kitsune to captain of Delta Squad. Kitsune, you have proven yourself worthy time and time again. I trust that you will make a great leader of your squad, and I believe that if you stick with it, you will be a great commander one day. It is my honor to name you my successor. From one legend to the next, I now dub you Kitsune Taichu. Itachi said as Naruto knelt down before Itachi as Itachi removed his sword and touched Naruto's shoulder with it, as is the knighting ritual used by the English. After Naruto had been sworn in, he stood back up as Itachi removed his mask and pitched it in the air lightly. Without any hand seals, Itachi spewed out a small fireball that enveloped his old mask and kept it floating, before willing it over to Naruto's direction. Naruto reached a hand under the mask and kept it floating, still on fire, as Itachi spoke again. This ritual is to signify the passing of the torch from one captain to the next. I present to you the youngest man to ever make Anbu captain of Delta Squad, Namikaze Naruto. At this point Naruto donned his mask before disappearing from his spot in a swirl of fire, to reappear several feet from where he was before, now standing in front of a wall full of masks of all kinds, all with fire burning around them. Naruto gracefully sat Itachi's mask upon the wall in the next empty spot, before kneeling in front of it and doing a set of hand seals. He stretched an arm out and touched it to the mask for a moment, as the fire flared brightly before dying back down to a small outline of the mask. Naruto returned to his previous location and spoke with practiced ease. That ritual is to signify that though Weasel may no longer be among our ranks, he will always carry the will of fire that we strive to represent. I officially accept my nomination as captain, and I appreciate all of your support. I hope that I may lead my squad as well as Weasel has before me. Naruto said with a deep bow towards Itachi, and then a deep bow towards the crowd. After the bow, the room erupted into cheers. Congratulations Naruto-kun, you've earned this. Hiruzen said as he walked over and patted Naruto on the shoulder. Now then, why don't I take you out to eat so we can celebrate? Sure thing Jiji. Naruto and Hiruzen both appeared in the street in front of Ichiraku's ramen via Shunshin. Naruto quickly noticed that it looked dark inside, but paid it no mind as he walked over and slid the curtain back, only to be glomped onto from two directions by two different girls. Congratulations Naruto-kun, Hinata and Ino said as one. After Naruto managed to pry the girls off, he walked in and sat down at the bar next to a grinning Sasuke, lighting up a cigarette in the process. Congrats on making captain, but don't think for a moment that means you could beat me. Sasuke said before patting Naruto on the back. And that shit is gonna kill you, you know. Naruto grinned back and replied, making captain doesn't change a thing, I can kick your Fasano same as ever. And no it's fine, rather soothing. You should try it sometime. Shit I doubt it. Sasuke said with a chuckle before a chopstick tapping on glass could be heard. Everyone turned to the source to see Hiruzen standing in the middle of the room. Thank you all for coming tonight to celebrate Naruto-kun's promotion. Now, a toast to the new captain. Tsuchi quickly filled everyone's glasses with sake, minus Hinata, Ino, and AM who got tea, before they all raised their glasses in the air. The Kitsune Taichu everyone chorused before downing their drinks. Congratulations Irogaki, you'll be beating them off with AA. Who am I kidding, you've already got two, you'll be swamped now Jiraiya said before his nose started to bleed a bit. They're not my life partners Iro-sen and Naruto said with a fake scowl. Sure, whatever Gaki. Jiraiya said with a wink before his face turned serious again. Seriously though kid, you know your dad would be proud of you, right? He never was Anbu himself, but he would still be proud. Anyways, I want you to have this, it won't be in stores for at least another month. He finished and handed Naruto a present with his trademark lecherous grin on, as Naruto portrayed his own before stuffing the little orange book into a pocket in his pants. Thanks Iro-sen and Naruto smiled and hugged the man. You're welcome, Irogaki. Use it, well. Jiraiya replied with a wink before heading off to drink himself to oblivion. After that the party went on for a while longer, with Jiraiya getting hammered and stumbling off to the red light district, Sasuke learning why 11-year-olds don't drink and getting carried home by Itachi, and Hiruzen leaving after warning Naruto that he needed to meet him at 8 in the morning, and finally Naruto and Hinata walked into home before going home to bed themselves. The next morning. Good morning Naruto-kun. Hiruzen said as Naruto appeared in his office in a vortex of flames. Morning Jiji-sama, what did you need me for? First off, I'd like for you to meet the new member of your squad. Hiruzen said, and like magic, a young man in a Hayo leopard mask who appeared to be about 19 stepped out of the shadow. Hello Kitsune Taichu, I am Yume Shiryu.an. It means nameless fodder. Take that as you will, wink wink. Nice to meet you Yume, it is an honor to have you on my squad. Naruto said as the two shook hands. Alright Hayo, you may be dismissed. Hiruzen said as Yume disappeared in a swirl of leaves. After Yume was gone, Hiruzen did a few hand seals, and the room glowed purple for a minute before the glow died out. Now then, I have your first mission as commander. It will be a hands-on mission, and if you are discovered, you will be labeled as traitors and executed as such. Do you accept? Hiruzen said with a stern voice. I do. Naruto said, now in mission mode. Hiruzen then went through some more hand seals and slammed his hand on his desk before Itachi appeared beside him in normal Konoha gear. Okajama. Itachi said with a small bow. Itachi-kun, Naruto-kun has accepted the mission. Care to explain? Of course. The mission, simply put, will be to assassinate Danzo Shimura. We have substantial evidence that Danzo is a traitor to this village and has been working alongside Orochimaru. After the council meeting tonight, your team will follow him home, kill him, and leave no evidence behind. Do you understand? I. Naruto replied with no emotion. Inside though, he was worried. This mission was big, and he had a new man on his squad that they had no experience with, not to mention that this would be his first mission as commander. Alright then, the meeting is at 1900 hours. Dismissed. Hiruzen said as he lifted the privacy seal and Naruto disappeared in a vortex of flames. Naruto reappeared at Anbu HQ and summoned his team to get some training in with the new guy. They spent the next 4 hours training, and Naruto wasn't particularly impressed with the man. He was good, that much was obvious since he was in Anbu, but he wasn't great. He didn't match up to the rest of his team, but then again Delta Squad is the envy of all the other squads, so that was a big shoe to fill. Naruto just hoped he would make it through tonight so he could be caught up to Delta standards. After the training, Naruto told his team to meet him at HQ at 1800 hours, and they all parted ways to rest up from their training. At 1800 hours sharp, Delta Squad appeared inside Anbu HQ in their various shunshuns. Naruto spent the next hour briefing the team on their course of action before they once more sunshine away to outside of the council chamber, where they simply stayed hidden and waited for Danzo to leave. Somewhere around an hour and a half later, the meeting was dismissed and the various council members departed for home. Naruto instantly activated his Sharingan, picking Danzo out of the crowd with no problem. Target in sight. Naruto whispered into his radio, receiving 3 short clicks as confirmation. Move out. Again receiving 3 clicks. The team spent the next 30 minutes hidden on the rooftops, in the trees, and in the shadows following the crippled idiot home. Finally, he arrived, having no clue he was being followed. He simply nodded to the 2 rude operatives that were hidden in the shadows by his gate before they quickly opened the gate to allow him passage. 2 by the gate, 1 on the roof, 1 by the front door, 1 by the back. I'll get the gate, Nico take the roof, Taka front, Hayo back. No sounds. Naruto whispered barely loud enough to hear through their radios, but received 3 confirmations. Move. As soon as Naruto was speaking, he appeared behind the first gate guard and removed his head with a quick slash of his tanto. He caught the head and body, lowered them quietly to the ground, and repeated the process again for the other. At the same time, Yugao, Sasuke, and Yume all accomplished their own task before they all disappeared back to the shadows to be sure Danzo didn't notice their arrival. After a brief moment, Naruto was sure they were good and leapt away quickly, landing beside the back door of the large home. With a quick scan of the house with his Sharingan, he confirmed that Danzo was in the shower and there were no seals anywhere to be concerned with. A bit too confident in his fake Anbu, isn't he? Naruto thought as he melted the door lock with a Kaiten dot. The 4-man team quickly went in before Naruto performed a soundproof barrier around the entire house and hid outside of Danzo's bedroom, waiting for him to come out. Several minutes later the man walked out of his bathroom and right past Naruto, who was waiting in the shadows. Without hesitating, Naruto pulled a kunai and plunged it deep into the base of Danzo's skull before the man fell to the ground and disappeared in a puff of smoke. Shit, Naruto yelled out as he narrowly avoided a blade of wind that smashed through the wall he was standing by. Danzo then stepped out through the hole in the wall and chuckled. So the weak old idiot is so scared of me that he sent a squad of Anbu to take me out. TSK. I may have been born at night, but it wasn't last night. You won't take me down so easily. Danzo said calmly before running through a set of one-handed seals before calling out Futen. Shinkajoku. Vacuum. Spheres, and inhaling a deep breath and releasing it, sending several streams of razor-sharp wind towards Naruto. Naruto quickly did his own hand seals and called out Futen. To top it as he blew out a large wall of wind that intercepted Danzo's attack, causing the hallway they stood in to explode outwards. Danzo once more began a set of hand seals, but never got to finish as he dodged a flame bullet from Sasuke. While Danzo was still in the air from the dodge, he was shocked as he caught a glimpse of a sword swinging towards him. Unable to dodge, the sword sliced into the side of his chest and through his heart, only stopping when it hit his spine. Yugao quickly kicked him off of her blade and backed away, preparing to burn the body, when his body shimmered a bit and then disappeared. She was quite shocked, but played it off as a seal to prevent interrogation if captured, until Danzo appeared in front of her once again, with the bandages around his face and right arm missing, revealing a Mangekyo Sharingan in his right eye, and 2 fully matured Sharingan, and what appeared to be 8 closed eye sockets on the arm. Before she could even react, he kicked her through the wall and leapt back towards Naruto and Sasuke. Right as Danzo started moving towards them, Mumei jumped in front of him and launched him through the wall and into what appeared to be a dojo. Mumei quickly leapt through the hole and engaged Danzo in a taijutsu bout for a moment before he was overwhelmed and knocked back out of the way. Just as Mumei got knocked away from Danzo, he heard a whistling noise before Sasuke called out Kaiten. Housenka no Jutsu and Naruto called out Futen Kaiten. Kakashi Rasengan Firestorm Rasengan. Before Danzo could react, Naruto appeared in front of him with a Futen Rasengan in hand. As Naruto began to thrust the attack home, the small fireballs that Sasuke fired merged to the Rasengan and began to swirl around it, while also increasing its size and intensity. Danzo didn't have a chance to dodge, and Naruto's attack found home, driving deep into Danzo's chest before exploding out in a ball of fire, blowing the side of Danzo's chest out. Naruto leapt back, still on guard after seeing Danzo survive Yugao's attack. Sure enough, Danzo's body soon shimmered and disappeared, before reappearing in front of Naruto with 1 open Sharingan and 9 closed sockets on his arm. He quickly went through some hand seals and said Futen. To top it as he released a gale force wind at Naruto, who was unable to dodge in time and was rocketed back out into the hallway. Sasuke quickly leapt in while Danzo was distracted and launched a roundhouse kick at his head, but Danzo spun and blocked the kick before launching his own into Sasuke's ribcage, shooting him back towards the hall as well. Out of the blue, Yugao appeared and caught Sasuke before sitting him down, and the two flew back at Danzo. Sasuke went in first, going through hand seals before calling out Kaiten. Kakakyu no Jutsu and blowing out a large stream of fire towards Danzo, who countered with a that stalled the attack before it could reach him. It was then that Danzo felt a presence behind him and quickly pulled a kunai out and spun around just in time to block a downward slash from Yugao's katana, though he wasn't fast enough to avoid the 2 clones that appeared at both of his sides with upward slashes. Both clones successfully sliced up through his ribs and into his spine. The clones then dispelled before Danzo fell to the ground dead. Again. Not one to be fooled twice, Yugao put a lot of distance between Danzo and herself as his body began to shimmer once again. Just like the 3 times before, Danzo disappeared, only to reappear right where he was killed most recently, now with 10 closed eye sockets on his arm, before bolting for Yugao once again. Yugao threw her arm up to counter the kick that Danzo launched, but never made it as Naruto substituted with her, ducked under his kick, and drove yet another Futen Rasengan in and through his chest where his heart would be. Naruto pulled his bloodied arm out, and to his surprise, Danzo began to laugh. Well, you managed to kill me. I can't say that I'm shocked, but at least I'll live in peace knowing I take you to hell with me. You're a Shishu in reverse 4 symbol sealing technique, Danzo shouted as he tore his shirt off, revealing 4 square symbols across his chest before the seals projected around Naruto and himself. Naruto tried to jump back out of the way, but found that he couldn't move anything. Shit. You idiot, Naruto yelled out as the 4 seals started to turn into a large black sphere. Well, hell. I can't believe this is how it ends. I'm only 11 years old and I die on the first mission I get